Just behind Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani, the 22-year-old posted a 1.002 OPS, batting a .290 with 36 home runs and 86 RBIs. Kurt's big moment came against the Houston Astros in July when he hit 4 home runs, becoming just the 20th player all-time to do so in a single game. This 2020 update was powered by KC Roofing. Roof now, pay later with flexible roofing financing options. KCRoof.net to see full details. KC Roof, from a hole in your roof to a whole new roof. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Mackenzie Flume.
The afternoon drive.
The Jets didn't so much as beat you as the Jets just stepped aside as you took a paddle and beat your own fanny.
Yeah, Raiders game, I can't say the Browns are going to win this. Titans game, I can't say the Browns are going to win this. Like, there's not a pregame show I can do where I will say the Browns are going to win this year. But after that performance yesterday, like, the burden of proof is on them to show me that they're doing anything but trying to lose these games at this point.
Yeah, and the problem is, like, at some point you're 2-7. At some point, you just are who you are.
The afternoon drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Do anything differently from last year when you were in this position?
No. Obviously my role is to make sure everybody's in position to succeed, and I'll continue to look for ways to do that. Listen, I have a ton of faith in Bubba. I have a ton of faith in our special teams. We have to be better. That's the case. There are ways that we can try to be better, but it's definitely, we'll continue to coach our guys hard. We'll continue to give them the techniques to use, but I trust our guys. I trust that we'll get back to work.
You were obviously ejected from this game in the second half. What led to that?
It was 20-2 in free throws in the third quarter. I'm not sure I've ever seen that in all my years in the NBA, 20-2. So I let them know that I wasn't pleased with that. They tossed me for it, but I'll stick with my protest, and I felt like I had to stick up for my team. When it's 20-2, when it's the disparity's that great, you got to stick up for your guys.
On Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
All right, I'll get to Kevin coming up in a bit. Because I'm running out of patience with those press conferences. We got more pressing business. You heard Kenny Atkinson right there. He got thrown out last night. I thought that they would lose. I wasn't surprised. I thought South Beach flew. I mentioned it to you yesterday during the Surfside Cavs update. Right now it is the Surfside Cavs update, brought to you by the fine folks at Surfside. Darius Garland hurt his toe again. This has the potential to be a devastating injury, in the words of Anthony Lima right before the show. Hello, Tone.
Yeah, not good. Just a disastrous night. It was an entertaining game.
Yeah.
There was not a ton of defense being played. A lot of threes being hoisted up. It wasn't beautiful. The game was not beautiful. Donovan Mitchell with just an insane bailout to even get that game to overtime. But in the end, win or lose, the definite main story and is going to continue to be what those MRI results, whatever the X-rays, the imaging on Darius Garland, because that could prove to be very, very significant.
Kenny Atkinson was asked about it yesterday. This is about him getting Darius out of the basketball game last night. Okay, we'll get to that coming up here in a bit. So, give me your thoughts on what you had right there.
It's a lot of the focus right now is going to be on, did Darius rush back? But by all accounts, this entire time, Darius, and we had made so many notes of this. Every single time, it was like he's ahead of schedule. He's ahead of schedule. He's ahead of schedule. He's ahead of schedule. And when we saw some of the basketball some of the drills he was doing, in preseason when they were down at IMG, it was like, holy cow. I thought Darius was going to miss like a month or more, and then we were going to have to reevaluate. And then it was like, nope, Darius is back. It's the second week. He's already back. And so I didn't think, some people were already wondering, well, was this too soon? Was this too soon? And I'm like, he was always ahead of schedule. If you're ahead of schedule, what are you still supposed to just tell him to do nothing and wait?
Well, I had a lot of people last night who I saw that were saying, why did you rush him back? Why did you rush him back? And I felt the same way you did. I go, well, they were asked about rushing him back a million times over, and they said, no doctors said that there was any problem. There was nothing like that. Like, they were asked several times. Every time they said that he was ahead of schedule, somebody asked, whether or not there was a rushing back, and they denied the entire time. So I don't think, listen, Darius Garland playing in November is not a necessity. So, yeah, I know we were all nervous to some. I mean, there's some people, they just don't think Darius Garland's very good, and I can't help those folks. But I think there were a lot of people who immediately were like, well, he doesn't need to play in November. And I was one of the people. I'm like, I don't need to see him until after Christmas or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Right. So I was naturally curious, but I figured, I go, well, how many millions does he make this year? And how important is he to the offense? I would think that it's not very important that he has to go out there and play. So if I'm mad, I'm just mad at the circumstance. I'm not mad. I don't think anybody did anything to rush him out on the floor to play in November. I don't think that happened whatsoever.
But remember what the rap was supposedly from some of the Cavs critics last year. And Joe Varden has stories about this, and it's been well documented that the thought around the league is that the Cavs kind of coddle their players, and that's established this lack of toughness because we don't do everything we can to make sure to crack the whip to get these guys going. No, people just can't make up their mind on this. Furthermore, I laugh too because what do people say about the NBA? What is one of the big criticisms about the NBA compared to the other sports?
Everybody's soft and too much load management.
And now all of a sudden, because he gets injured, it's going to be the Monday morning quarterbacking of, well, you should have been taking your time. We didn't need to see him for another 2 months. Why is he playing? It's like, well, make up your mind, guys. Do you want NBA players to relax and take their good old time and all be Kawhi Leonard?
Somebody responded to me, and I think that they're right. He's just he is not big. He is injury prone, and that's something we're going to have to deal with. I mean, that's his whole career. He's been bagged by injuries. I mean, hell, the time that he spent 4.5 games at Vanderbilt, 4.5. And why did he miss the rest of the season at Vanderbilt? Because of an injury. So he's not big. He's injury prone. This is something we're going to have to deal with. All right, we got the clip of Kenny Atkinson. Here's Kenny yesterday talking about getting Darius out of the game.
There were a couple of times where he's limping, and then you have to defer to the player. I have a good trust with Darius, and he plays through a lot, so I kind of kept him out there. Maybe I should have pulled him earlier, but I trust him. We have good communication. But then, it got to the point where he had to give the foul, right, to stop the play, and we got him out.
All right, here is Donovan Mitchell, team leader, on Darius Garland's injury.
I came back here with him and I said, hey, this is part of it. I'd rather this happen today than in 4 or 5 months, right? This is all part of it. And I mean, it's easy for me to say that, right? It's easy for us to sit here and say, you'll be fine, and he's not trying to hear that. But at the end of the day, hey, there's going to be setbacks. There's going to be things that happen, right? And it's not about, him not working. I could see if he was upset because it's like, hey, you didn't do the things necessary. He's been in the gym. He's been working on himself. So there's nothing to be worried about. Hey, this is all part of the progress. And progress isn't linear.
So to not speculate too much about this, what could we be looking at here?
Well, I mean, when you listen to Donovan, it makes it seem like it's not that big of a deal. It sounded like to him it was just, it's something we're working through. But, look, the whole story about Darius is always going to be his capacity to kind of play through stuff. We saw him try to gut it out last year. I couldn't believe the criticism that he got in the playoffs for people were wondering, is he even injured? It's like, have you seen him? Have you seen what he's wearing on his foot? Remember, he had this special shoe that he had to wear, and remember, he kept falling down to the ground. And I couldn't believe the audacity of people to question, the guy is in the playoffs, putting himself out there, potentially humiliating himself, right? Because he wasn't the same guy. He was having trouble ball handling. Remember, that was such a big issue for the team all the way around, especially with the full court press that they were enduring against the Pacers in that series. So I just think it's frustration. So people are gonna come at them with the worst attributes, the worst things they can kind of link to them because they're starting to get nervous already. The team doesn't look anywhere near as flowing and cohesive as last year right now. It's so early. I don't think any of it matters that much.
Because they are doing... I can't call for them to do what I want them to do. I told you, there's got to be a threshold of time before a ramp-up period or anything before I get mad. I'm not going to get mad at them for doing what I wanted them to do. I wanted them to work on things during the regular season. So what this is going to do is I think that if Darius is lost for any modicum of time, that this is going to force, again, robotic Evan Mobley. having him be outside his comfort zone, which, again, when he's outside his comfort zone, he becomes robotic. You can tell he's forced to do things that he doesn't really naturally want to do, but he's going to have to do that. This is going to force growth with other people. Now, for Darius, again, I think that when he came back from his injury last year, I think that he hates being called soft. I think that he hates being called brittle. I think that he hates being called injury prone. Okay, well, the first thing, maybe he's not soft. I don't want to call him soft. Soft is a personal affront to him. If you think he's soft, then that's on you. The other two, I'm sorry, you are what you are. You are what you are. If you're brittle, if you're injury prone, sorry, buddy, you're 6'2", you're underweight. That's kind of the way it goes. That's not being mean-spirited. That's just me being honest about the situation.
He's just one of the slighter guards in the league.
Exactly. So you have to kind of keep him away from contact. So how do I keep him away from contact? Well, I run the offense a little bit more from Evan Mobley so I can draw defense to him and then free up a guy like Darius Garland so he's not getting there's no such thing as hand checking anymore, allegedly. So I don't get him shoved into the first row. Like that's what I got to do because again he's a slight guard. So I don't want to say that he's soft. Soft is a sincere insult to just about anybody. Nobody likes being called soft. But for him, the other things are just true. Like yeah, you're an injured, brittle guy, and that's just something we're going to have to deal with because when he's healthy, he is a fantastic basketball player. He's fantastic, and he makes this offense better, and you could see that when he first got into the game last week. So when my offense is better with him, fine. Let's go ahead and let's work with this the best way we possibly can and see how long he's injured. If he's out for the year or something like that, then we have to obviously reevaluate everything we're doing for the rest of this year. If he's out for a month or 2 months or anything like that, I am not as alarmed as what other people will be. I am not, I'd like to have first round home court advantage. I don't need home court throughout the playoffs. I think that's been proven not necessarily a necessity anymore. I'd like to make the front. Give me a top 6 seed, and I think we'll just about be okay. I really do.
Well, they're gonna get. I mean, they're gonna. I know, despite what you're seeing right now, I do expect them to annihilate a lot of these Eastern Conference teams. Like last night, you had no business with that Heat team as their makeup. And I wonder, like the casual fan, how many of the Heat players did you actually know?
Not very many.
By the way, we played them.
Not very many.
In the first round of the playoffs.
I know that.
And historically beat them up.
I know that.
Andrew Wiggins, they might know.
Yes.
Who ends up with the game winner. What did you think of the way they defended the play there in overtime?
That was terrible.
I got 100 problems with the way they defended that.
It was terrible.
I remember Kenny Atkinson is not on the floor. So he's back in the locker room. Johnny Bryant is for whatever reason.
You got a lot of work to do, Johnny.
Why was I'm watching this play over and over and over again, and the 5 guys on the floor, they've got Merrill and Hunter completely botched. They run Wiggins through an elevator screen at the top of the key. I don't understand why we're not just
listen to nitty-gritty basketball talk.
I don't know why we're not switching.
Listen to Anthony Naismith.
Well, could somebody tell me why the Cavs are sticking with their guys and not switching? It's not like sometimes you don't want to switch screens throughout the course of certain games sometimes because there might be a matchup advantage. Like you don't want their 7-footer, being defended by your guard, your point guard. Like, so that's why you wouldn't switch something like that. In this case, the end of the game, there's 0.4 seconds left. I know Donovan Mitchell has decent length for a guard his size, but why isn't Jared Allen in the game pressuring the inbounds pass? Is there something I don't know about?
I acquiesce to you, friend.
I know Jared Allen was benched in the fourth quarter. And he's been benched in a lot of fourth quarters this year. I think he's only playing like 3 minutes a game in the fourth quarter. I do not understand their alignment. I don't understand who's out there. I don't understand why they're not switching. And in the end, this looks like varsity running an inbounds play against JV, that they could get that kind of a game winner. Made no sense. Dean Wade chases, who was that? Was it Davion Mitchell through the screen?
Yes.
And then Jaquez takes Mobley out to the 3-point line, and nobody went with Wiggins inside.
It's bad.
I do not understand what they were attempting to accomplish there.
It's very ugly and very embarrassing.
Why aren't they switching those screens, and why isn't Jared Allen pressuring the ball on the inbounds and not even on the floor?
I don't know. The guys who are tackling Andrew Wiggins, I'm sorry, it looks like he's playing for Creighton. in the round of 64 right now. I'm like, I don't know any of these guys, man. I'm sorry. The truth's the truth. You want the answer from me? I gave you the answer. We know who he is, but he's getting tagged off the bench. Who are these fellas? Who the hell are these guys? Sorry. No, it was bad. It was really bad. It probably would have been.
This is one of the rare times.
Would have been drawn up different with Kenny?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think so. I think
so. Did Kenny getting thrown out of the game?
I think it did hurt.
Did it cost us the victory?
There's no way they would have fallen asleep.
I gotta tell you,
to that extent. Kenny's too good.
I know that, but I just assumed. I go, they've won 4 in a row. They're in Miami. I don't want to say scheduled loss.
Well, and they're going to continue to be in Miami.
Well, I'm right. At least the first time out, I'm just like, yeah, they're in Miami. You know, the South Beach flu claims a lot of people, and it's historically claimed the Cavs. And you could say, well, they got him in the postseason. Postseason, you lock in. You're trying to take care of an opponent. You're trying to serve. This is November. This is a regular season. You want to get out and about. You want to go to La Tub. Is that the restaurant you go to?
Yes.
I wasn't. Yeah. I swear to God, I did not think very much of this game. I was like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they lost.
Kenny, what'd you think of 65 3-pointers for your Cavaliers?
You know what? I didn't even realize it until you told me.
Boy, isn't that a sign of the times? Isn't that a sign of the times in the NBA? They took 65. Is that a franchise record? It's how could they have ever shot more threes in a game?
How many was it between Sam Merrill and who else?
Yeah, well, Sam Merrill ended up going off the bench. He was 4 of 16. Okay. I think he started out 0-7, then he hit 4 in a row. He was 4 of 16. Donovan was 3 of 16. Between the two of them, 7 of 32. I want to know how many. Lenny Wilkens passed away the other night. We said some nice things about him yesterday. The 3-time Hall of Famer. How many times in the history of Lenny Wilkens' teams with the Cavs did they shoot 32 threes and you had 2 players shoot 32 threes last night? What a sign of the times in the NBA.
It certainly is.
I think they need to tinker. League needs to do some tinkering. Hey, baseball got rid of the shift. Baseball sped up the clock. These were 2 things that it seemed like were untouchable. Hey, it's tight. It's your move. Adam Silver, it's your move.
I'm going to get to some folks here. 216-474-0092. How devastating could this be? We don't know much about the injury or just how long or anything they'll be out. So we'll get more information as the day goes on. And I don't like it making a big deal about press conferences, but it's getting beyond ridiculous at this point. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app.
Anthony Lima for Florida.
before eligible port-ins on essentials for well-qualified customers. Auto-pay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits ended. Balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 256 gigabytes, $830 required. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Want to talk Browns while you're at work? Baskin and Phelps, weekdays starting at 10 on 92.3 The Fan.
We'll find out more later on today about how possibly devastating the injury could be for Darius Garland. Came off the floor twice. Kenny had to make sure he was out of the game. Of course, this was while he was getting thrown out too. So you got that going for you. Let me get the Jacob in Geneva. Cavs update brought to you by the fine folks at Surfside. Please drink responsibly. Jacob in Geneva, hello.
Hey, Ken, long time no talk. How's it been?
It's been well, my friend. You go right on ahead.
I just had a real quick question because, like you were saying, Darius Garland is brittle and injury prone, and he's been out, every other year with injuries. So my question is how do we want to see the rotation go? Granted, we don't know how long, but Lonzo Ball can't shoot, but he can see the floor. But you have Jalen Tyson, who's shown flashes, but still young. How do you see those minutes going while Darius Garland's out?
Well, right now, I mean, I see Jalen Tyson. Jalen Tyson has been, and I don't want to steal anything away from Anthony here. Tone, I think he's been everything that people wanted Isaac Okoro to be. I think he's been better on that end. I mean, when you're mentioning Lonzo Ball, you have to be careful because he can't really. Do you want him playing back-to-backs at all? Do you want him having that many minutes? I don't think so.
Well, yeah, because he's also injury prone as well. Uh-huh. He's had injuries through when he was in Charlotte, Chicago. I mean, you name it. So how do you go about that as well?
Well, I mean, can I acquiesce?
You have Sam Merrill. He's had minutes as well. But what do you do if Darius Garland is out a month or two?
No,
how do you divvy up those minutes?
Yeah, it's brutal. You're just going to see what they've done in the past. You're going to see more Donovan Mitchell having to shoulder that load. And while he can play point guard for stints, it also takes a lot out of him, especially now. This year, Jacob, you seem like a savvy NBA fan. There's been a sea change in the NBA this year. Sometimes you see league-wide adjustments. There's more full court pressure and three-quarters pressure. This sounds like a high school or a college broadcast if we're talking about that. NBA's never done that. NBA teams are now doing what Indiana did last year across the whole league. The entire league is pressuring. Guys are getting picked up closer to the baseline, their own basket, than ever before. And this has been just one of the ways that the league, it's a copycat league. They're all kind of picking up where Indiana left off. And what is that going to do if now you don't have Darius Garland and it's going to be Donovan Mitchell running point, or a combination of, Lonzo Ball or some of the other guys on the team. And no Max Strus. Max Strus is somebody who could have maybe shouldered some of that load.
And the other thing as well, like we were talking about, Lonzo Ball helps you with that press by the passing, but the problem is when you get to the half-court sets, you're not able to shoot with him.
He can't shoot. What I mean? His shot selection has been abysmal.
But you have Jalen Tyson, who works in the half-court set that does the ball rotation and stuff like that. I just don't know how he is as far as bringing the ball up through the press, or are you having Donovan Mitchell do that, and then that takes away the game because you're not seeing the floor.
Yeah, well, the goal is, thank you for the call. The goal
Jacob,
is,
great call. Thank you.
You drafted Tyrese Proctor. The hope is going to be that eventually over time you'll get more comfortable with him handling the ball, throughout the year.
216-474-0092. We'll get back to this coming up here in a bit. So usually I don't try to make a big deal about press conferences because I think that, and part of this is because of Pat Shurmur, 100%. Pat Shurmur was the coach when this station first got going. And hearing him say the same thing every single press conference, just trying to get through the press conference, was mind-numbing. Absolutely mind-numbing. So part of this is history. But yesterday, you start to get to this point where, and it's unfair to Kevin because then you have to start answering proprietary questions, or not proprietary questions, but big picture questions that really you shouldn't have to answer because you end up being the quote-unquote spokesman for the team, even though that you're not. I don't know what power you really have because I don't know what you really wanted to do when it comes to making some of the trades that they made, bringing in some of the people that you've brought in. Some of that stuff, it's been rubbing me the wrong way here over the last couple of weeks where I got a general manager who used to talk every single bye week. Now he doesn't want to talk. And I cannot tell you how much it bothers me because I don't think that's being a good team player. I don't think you're putting people in the right position. So Kevin has to go out there and answer questions. And yesterday or Sunday was an abomination. And that's partly Andrew Barry's fault because he's the one who picks the players. And a lot of that's Kevin Stefanski's fault and his staff's fault for what happened on Sunday. I mean, Bubba Ventrone and that special teams, there is no argument for Bubba Ventrone. That is absolutely 100% unacceptable. And people want to say, well, they got to send a message. It's not just about sending a message. It's about holding accountable. You've gone half a season. Your special teams have been crap, save for Grant Delpit. You went through a bye week. You come off a bye week. You got 2 weeks to prepare for opponents, and you give up a punt return touchdown and a kickoff return touchdown, opposite directions, in 36 seconds. Within 36 seconds. On an offense that can't score. See, that's the thing. You have an offense that can't score. So you must play the most complimentary football that you possibly could play. You had one drive, which may still have been part of the script, and then you were able to score one touchdown because you had a Ronnie Hickman interception. So because of that, you are already behind on your offense. You must be hemmed up on special teams. Now I'm just foaming at the mouth and getting mad. But Kevin Stefanski was asked about all this yesterday, and the pattern's already there that you're picking up, but I'll go ahead and I'll put out the pattern anyway. Here's first how he says he has faith in Bubba Ventrone.
Listen, I have a ton of faith in Bubba. I have a ton of faith in our special teams. We have to be better. That's the case. There are ways that we can try to be better, but it's definitely we'll continue to coach our guys hard. We'll continue to give them the techniques to use, but I trust our guys. I trust that we'll get back to work.
Okay, you heard that? Hold on, because I know that there's an operative phrase in there that I know you've picked up on because we've heard it a million times. Here's Kevin Stefanski about everybody doing better on offense.
With young quarterbacks, understanding that there's going to be ups and downs. Can Dylan play better? Yes, he can. Can we play better around him? Yes, we can. Can we coach him better? Yes, we can. So I understand the question, but I just trust that our young players at every position, and certainly at the quarterback position, are guys that are going to work their tails off to get better every single day.
What about the failed fourth down call? Kevin, hit it!
I'm responsible for every decision, every play call, offense, defense, special teams. So I'll own all of it. And I trust our players. I trust our coaches. We obviously did not get the result we wanted there. And the desire, obviously, on third down and on fourth down is to get that first. We came up short, but bottom line is it's my responsibility.
And finally, what is the problem with the pre-snaps, guys?
The pre-snap penalties are ones that we really can control, and post-snap we can be great with our technique, but I believe we had 3 pre-snap penalties on offense, which is 3 too many on the road. We know the situation at the end there. We can be better. We will be better.
For Kevin, and I mean this, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be stupid here. That's 3 out of 4 clips we played right there. Same answers. Same thing. The press conferences are worse than the losses.
I got to say, Kenny, I question. I see the numbers, so I understand why our boss makes us play the press conferences, because people come in and they watch them, and when we put up the post game with Stefanski on Sunday, they got a massive number. I've seen all the numbers, so I understand why, as a company, we do it. For the listener, I don't understand why we play the press conferences right now. They're a complete waste of everybody's time. It's actually unprofessional. I think it's gotten to the point it's unprofessional.
Of playing the press conferences?
No. It's unprofessional what Kevin is doing in the press conferences. I think he's being unprofessional, and I would tell him that to his face. I think it's a slap in the face to round up everybody, even your own employees that have to come and help conduct a press conference, and everybody involved. I think what he's doing is a total waste of time, and I expect better of him, I have to say, because he says, I own it, we own it, but he doesn't really own it, because if he owned it, he would go into detail. He would, it's not owning it when, every time when I'm telling my kids, Izzy, you did this again with Mason, you hit him again, you two-head yesterday, thunder push. You don't thunder push Mason like
Hadoukens?
That. Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. And then every day she goes, I'm sorry at the end of the night. But I'm like, you're not sorry, because you're doing it again. And you're just paying lip service to it because we've rehearsed this. We're going over it, and all you're doing is just going through the motions on it. He's not owning up to any of this because he doesn't go into detail about where it's gone wrong, why it's gone wrong, what he's coached the team to do, why it's been any different. Like, why he expects it to be any different. So he's not really owning up to it, because I think when they go back into the room, I think he is screaming at his I would hope so. I think he's just screaming at his players.
I don't think he's screaming at anybody. I don't think he's screaming at anybody.
Then if he's not, how's it going to change? Why would I expect it to change?
Because I don't expect it to change.
So this whole thing is a total exercise in futility.
I don't expect it to change.
From the press conferences to then, if what you're saying is true, it's even worse. Then we're not expecting any of this to change.
Because when you're saying you got to be better, and you're saying, well, we got to coach better, we're going to coach better, it's like, well, I don't believe you. Because again, you're 5-21 over the last couple of years, so you're saying we can coach better. Of course, if you can still coach better if you're 5-21 over the last couple of years, then you guys have a really sincere problem. And so that's why I'm getting upset about it, because I don't think you're wrong about what you're saying here. Because I don't like playing the press conference answers, because it's the same thing every time, and it's an insult to everybody. So you got to find a different answer to give other than we got to be better every single time. But that's always going to be the answer he's going to give, because he's probably put in a position he unjustifiably doesn't want to be in. But you're still the head coach of the football team.
I also got to be honest.
So regardless of what you want to say or what he wants to say, I still have to hold you to what you say.
I also think tactically, this doesn't make any sense. What he's doing, like with Cameron Thomas, okay, he jumps off sides, right, at the end of the game. You could see Kevin Stefanski's on the sidelines.
Losing his mind.
Yeah. Beforehand.
Yeah.
So I've heard a lot of people say, well, that's all coach. Like the afternoon show was like, that's all coaching. It's coaching. No, you know what coaching would have been? It would have been calling the player out and then just cutting him. Like, that's coaching, because then that's...
I don't know if that's coaching.
Yeah, it is.
Cutting him is not coaching.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. See, this is the bigger problem. I actually think this is a massive problem within the Browns and their infrastructure. The fact that Cameron Thomas, he'd been an easy guy to cut, right? That's an easy guy. Like, players get cut all the time. Juan Thornhill yesterday got cut by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
That's coaching. That's Mike Tomlin going, we've coached it. I can't do it with that player. And then, oh, by the way, here's a resounding move so that everybody knows in the building that I'm in charge. That guy's not doing what he's being paid to do. He's got to go, and now everybody else is on notice. Letting Cameron Thomas come back to the team after costing them a chance to evaluate Dylan Gabriel on a final drive, even though we all know what would have happened on the final drive. But just doing that instead, him coming back and saying, it's on me. All right, but there's a lot of people that want you fired, Kevin. You're not fired. So what I guarantee you coach guys not to jump off, and he just did it anyway. So you can't win with that guy. Get rid of him. The fact that he's still on the team, what do you think Myles Garrett thinks? What do you think Myles Garrett thinks that he's got another guy in the defensive line who's jumping and costing your team a chance to win a game? And now Myles Garrett's got to come back and say, and hear the coach say, well, I got to coach it better. Coaching it better would have been getting rid of this.
Well, you're right.
And at least putting people on notice.
You're right. It's not taking responsibility in the classic sense. It's just saying it. And everything he's saying is just getting through it. And I think it reaches a point where, again, I don't look at the press conferences the way that some people do, the way that some hosts do. And I don't think you do either. But when you do it to this level, it becomes a deflection. I kind of want to disagree about Cam Thomas.
Why would I expect him not to do it again next time? Next time in the exact same spot.
Because I don't think making an example of Cam Thomas fixes anything, because my memory goes back to Jadeveon Clowney. My memory goes back to the other guys that you've just let skate over the last 6 seasons now. See, that's where I go, well you're going to let Cam Thomas go. Cam Thomas was trying. Like, Jadeveon Clowney wasn't trying year 2. So at least he was trying. It was awful. It was terrible. But, that's the difference to me. And that's a cheap difference in so many ways to some people. I get that they'd be upset to hear something like that. But my memory doesn't go back to just this year. It's like, you should have held him accountable then. If you had held him accountable then I could understand. Like, if they were to go, hey, you caused a big problem where people heard you outside the locker room getting yelled at, and clearly your teammates don't like you anymore. You've caused a problem. You got to go. Then letting go of Cam Thomas makes sense. But it doesn't make sense because that guy's actually trying. But you let guys walk around and not contribute to the football team for whatever reason, maybe because you don't have the power, and that's where I have to go back on it.
But Kenny, what are the stakes in that building?
It's not consistent. It's not consistent leadership.
What does anything matter in that building if you allow guys?
I don't know what matters. That's my issue.
That is an unforgivable sin to jump off sides. When the broadcasters are laughing, the Browns broadcasters are going. We played it yesterday a bunch of times. Nathan Zagura and Andrew Siciliano are sitting there apoplectic.
You are right.
And they just allow it, and he's still on the football team, and they're just going to coach it again.
Yes, you are 100% correct. But if they had a history of accountability, then I could say different. There's no history of accountability, so we're gonna start picking Cam Thomas out to be accountable.
I think it would have been a good opportunity.
It would be absolutely nothing. It means nothing.
I think finally people would have looked around and said, "Oh,
you got to understand where I'm at with this team.
My job's actually at stake."
I get that.
Oh, Juan Thornhill in Pittsburgh. That's how they do things in Pittsburgh.
That's how they do things in Pittsburgh.
I know they got
That's
flaws.
not how they do things here.
I know they got flaws in Pittsburgh, but we got way more. We got exponentially more flaws, and we got Mike Tomlin after their Sunday night game. He was asked. We might have to play this clip coming back. He was asked about Aaron Rodgers. Like, what'd you think of Aaron Rodgers? He goes, "Did you watch the game?" Like he threw his quarterback under the bus. I've never seen us do that with anybody. Whether it was Deshaun Watson, whether it was anybody, we don't do that ever.
I don't want to disagree with you. I don't think you're right. I don't think you're wrong. I'm sorry. I'm used to saying you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. I don't. But it's because of their history that I go, you're not going to accomplish anything by cutting Cam Thomas. You're going to accomplish nothing. That says nothing to me. Oh, I'm going to hold him accountable. Yeah, you've held nobody accountable for the last 6 years. Nobody. Even at the end, like you traded, like people say, well, they held Baker accountable. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They've held nobody accountable over the last 6 years. Who have they held accountable? There's never been accountability. And you could say Pittsburgh, that's why Pittsburgh at least gets close every single year. At least to the playoffs and at least be having some sort of a standard. There's no accountability here, and that's part of the problem. And then there's not even accountability in the answers. 216-474-0092. Ken Carman, Tone Master General on the Fan. Friends, Ken Carman here for the wonderful people at Window Nation. That's windownation.com. Check them out online, windownation.com. Folks, it's time to save with Window Nation. Right now, 50.
Yes, that was easy. In your weeknight with the best segments of the day. The Fan Rewind. Weeknights at 11.
Listen, I have a ton of faith in Bubba. I have a ton of faith in our special teams. We have to be better. That's the case. There are ways that we can try to be better, but it's definitely we'll continue to coach our guys hard. We'll continue to give them the techniques to use, but I trust our guys. I trust that we'll get back to work.
I want to play. I'm glad you played that coming back, Meredith, because Lima found the clip. Meredith found the clip. Lima sent her on the chase. They found it. Thank God. This is, in comparison, this is Mike Tomlin about Aaron Rodgers here, Tone.
I think it was the night, like on Sunday night, Aaron Rodgers was horrendous in that game on national television. And here's Mike Tomlin afterwards.
How would you assess Aaron's performance tonight? How would you? Next.
You look at his face. His face tells it all. Like, you watched the same game I did. Well, He's basically saying my quarterback sucked. And that's a grown man being able to say that, Aaron Rodgers sucked.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer. He's a big boy. He can deal with it.
Can you ever imagine that coming out of Berea? Let's say we had Aaron Rodgers.
We protect everybody's feelings at all costs. That's what they do. And I got a lot of people, Ken, Anthony's right. I go, you are right. I agree with you.
Yeah, I didn't even think you said I was wrong.
Because I'm so used to saying you're wrong, I accidentally said it. And then I corrected myself. I agree with you. The Cam Thomas thing, it would make a difference if they had ever held anybody responsible.
You're saying
before.
It would have come off as phony, cutting him.
No, I would have looked at it and go, why are you holding people? Wait a minute. You're 2-7. You've just lost to the Jets. You're 5-21. Now you hold people accountable? Now you hold them accountable. This is where you're making your stand. This is what you do when we just let people draft anybody willy-nilly while we go out there and we give game balls away to Deshaun Watson after he throws for 100 yards.
150
and
yards.
150. I don't want to take any yards away. Every yard counts.
We were on the same page.
Thank you.
While you were talking, I was like, yeah, we gave the game ball to Deshaun Watson.
When we take away the captaincy from Nick Chubb, one of the most beloved players of this generation in the city, and that's all three major teams. We take it away and we give it to Deshaun Watson. Now we're going to hold people accountable with Cam Thomas. See, that's
because he really earned it. Yeah,
you and I are on the same page, and I'm not going to let that press conference tear you and me apart. I'll let something else tear you and me apart later on in the show or tomorrow or whenever. That ain't going to do it. I'm with you, but I if they were to do it, I'd say this does no good. This is hollow. It's cheap. At least that guy was trying. At least he was trying. It was bad. And yes, if you had accountability, you would have moved on from him. You are absolutely right. You are right. But you don't have accountability. And this goes back for the last 6 years now. There's no accountability, and it still comes to this question of you got a 2-time coach of the year. Don't throw up all over your steering wheels when I say it. I say it not in meaning it right now. The 2-time coach of the year. Who I don't know how much power he has. I don't know how much power the guy has. I don't know what decisions he's allowed to make. And when you hear these press conferences, it's just a giant deposition. He should. I'm serious. He's one loss away, and I mean the Ravens are going to lose on Sunday, so he might as well just go. I do not recall.
This is how I've been coached up to answer the questions.
What happened when Dylan Gabriel threw that hot air balloon into the third row on 3rd down and 10 in the second? I do not recall. Kevin, what happened when you gave up that punt return for a touchdown 36 seconds after you gave up I do not recall. Kevin, what happened when you tried the Jets? I do not recall. He might as well do that. It's the same thing. And by the way, how often do I couch it to the point where people they get mad at me for it when I go, hey, I really like Andrew, I really like Kevin. This is the type of thing that turns media against you. Because when you just give the same answer every time you're just getting through it, it's like you're not giving us what we want. You're not giving us what we need. I need an explanation. Help me understand. But he's not going to do that because there's nothing to understand other than team's not good. And he can't throw Andrew under the bus, and Andrew's not going to come out and speak for himself. So Kevin's left to answer these questions.
Yeah, we had Mike Tomlin actually throw the Browns GM under the bus earlier in the year.
Yeah.
We can't. We're never going to do it in-house.
Kevin's not going to do it. Damn it, we're going to let the other guys do it. Bruce Arians, where you at? Let Bruce Arians say it. Dan Orlovsky, boy, we got that. Do you got that clip of Dan? I don't want to play the Dan Orlovsky just yet. We'll get to the Dan Orlovsky coming up because I want to get to some of these people coming up here soon. I don't know if I believe in my own children the way Dan Orlovsky believes in Kevin Stefanski. After that pregame last night on ESPN, the Giants' job's open. Keep an eye out for Kevin. I go, what world are we living in? What world are we living in? I was more worried about my son starting in 5th grade football. Dan, put Kevin in. Well, it's a job that's open. Put him in there. You Browns fans, you guys are gonna learn. I mean, anything. Is he not qualified for anything according to Dan Orlovsky? Lord Almighty. And oddly enough, the Giants are part of the reason why I still wouldn't pull the plug until January, and I'll tell you why coming up later. 216-474-0092. The accountability thing, you're right, Anthony. You're 100% right, but my history goes back further than that, where it just wouldn't prove anything to me. Ken Carman, Tone Master General. We got John Greco coming up at 8 on The Fan.
It's Anthony Lima for Fanatic Sportsbook, and we talk so much about football, but NBA season is here. Fanatic Sportsbook already running plays straight out of the championship playbook. Here is the deal, you guys. Have heard me talk about fan cash. Remember, every time you bet with Fanatic Sportsbook, you're actually earning up to 10% fan cash, win or lose. That's right. Even when your bet misses, you are still scoring fan cash, which, of course, is going to unlock so much value. How much value? Well, you can flip it on authentic NBA
News continues every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Mackenzie Flume.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan.
John Greco, 8 o'clock. How close is Kevin Stefanski to lose in the locker room? Lima wanted accountability. Lima's holding people accountable. He's holding people's feet to the friggin' fire, man. I love it. I love it. I like it when you get excited.
Well,
I like it when you get worked up. This is good stuff.
I've definitely seen, there's been some pushback, guys on X, like Ben, guys, come on, who cares? It doesn't matter. Getting mad at press conferences is so forced and performative.
It's not, because we never do it.
Ben, I never do it. I've not done it all year. We barely play the press conferences because they're so irrelevant. But then I watch other teams and I watch other leaders in their press conferences, and I'm like, some of it translates to other walks of life, right? And when I saw Mike Tomlin, that's really what it was. I saw Mike Tomlin basically in one emotion, and in less than 4 words, you could tell that, yes, he was disgusted with how his quarterback played, and that's Aaron Rodgers. And he wasn't worried in any way, Mike Tomlin, about hurting his quarterback's feelings. And then you immediately went to, we were giving out game balls to Deshaun Watson for horrible games.
Which is usually your line.
Yeah, horrible games, and he got a game ball. And it's like, do you think Mike Tomlin would do that? And I do think there's a difference. I do think, yes, the press conference, by and large, you don't hire and fire coaches based on the press conference. That's silly. Famously, we've had some guys win press conferences when they get hired and then be total calamitous mistakes. And then the opposite, you've seen guys fumble through their introductory press conference. So I get to
the point where a lot of guys, we thought that they lost press conference. Like we were like, oh, we have plenty of experience with these terrible coaches, like Mike Pettin, who ended up being a decent coach. He just was in over his head. But like when Dan Campbell had his first press conference, we're like, oh boy.
And everyone's like, that's a bad coach. That guy's going to be terrible.
When Nick Sirianni had his first, oh boy. And it's like, no, they ended up being pretty good coaches.
Yeah, so
Dan Campbell's better than Nick, but you get what I'm saying.
It's not that
Sirianni,
if this show did this every time, if every single Monday after a Browns loss, we got up there and roasted Kevin for the press conference over the actual game, well, that's silly. Well, and we've never done that.
I would agree with Ben because I have heard many people play press conference and do outrage over press conferences. In 9 years, I think you could count on one finger the amount of times we've been outraged over a press conference, at least together. You've talked me off the leg. Come on, Ken, it doesn't really matter. Come on. But like you and I, we've really not been, I do not remember a scenario where we have been that mad. I mean, I'm sure in 9 years it's happened one other time with one other coach. I can't imagine though. I mean, 9 years, this is the first time in forever.
But what I'm saying,
we
guys,
just don't do it.
Is we have a coach who's been here 6 years, who I can give you a list of things he's done really well. I people right now, because it's been 2 years of god awfulness and 3 out of 4. Like, I understand that you roll your eyes. I know the afternoon show, they're catatonic anytime someone mentions that he won Coach of the Year twice. And I'm like, well, he did. You can't be like, well, I'm going to take the good things away.
But it's usually just because it's almost like a slap in the... It's almost a backhanded compliment.
Well, it's part of his resume.
That he's the head coach.
You don't get to just ignore the good parts of the resume. It's not like...
I understand that.
It's not like, you can go through and talk about, quarterbacks and be like, well, if you take out his 2 best years, he wasn't that good of a quarterback. Well, no. I mean, we're gonna go over the good things and the bad things. That's part of his resume. But what I'm saying is, it's been 6 years. I think Kevin, in those press conferences, it's actually pretty telling that doesn't seem like a guy where that whole locker room rallies around him, because the buck doesn't stop with Kevin. Like, Kevin, I think he just goes through the motions when he consistently says, it's on me, this is all on me, this is all me, I'm the coach, this on me. It's like nobody really believes that you believe that, because you're just one of those pull string dolls at this point.
Like my wife. Well, I guess I'm just the worst wife ever, aren't I? Well, no, I just said I can't find the other sock. That's all. That's all I was saying. Yeah, it's just my responsibility, isn't it? I just was saying, I know it's 4 a.m, but I can't find my other sock, and I want the socks to match. But when you're he's just not put in a good place. I'm sorry. When you're the only guy speaking, and you continuously say this,
and you say nothing,
you're gonna get mad if you don't give us any look into it. I can't understand you. I want to understand you.
Look at the players. Listen to the players. You never hear, and this is so different with Mike Vrabel, where everybody in the building in New England, they already know. You can hear it whenever other players. That's like coach. They bring up the coach, what he expects from us. Same thing with Mike Tomlin. And again, that doesn't mean these guys are perfect coaches. I'm just saying there's different styles to this. But everybody in these buildings, though, then there's like Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan doesn't have to lead with pounding the table and all that, but everybody knows. Everybody knows he's in charge. Does everybody know that with Kevin Stefanski? Does it feel like that whole building?
No, it feels like they've taken away power from him.
They rise and fall to the whims of the head coach. Like, no, that's not Kevin's style.
So let me do this. Like, this is, I want to understand him. This is why it's like, buddy, you got to open up. You got to open up. Because I do want to get that Orlovsky clip after this. Let me get 02 here. And this is standard fare Monday press conference now. Hit it.
With young quarterbacks, understanding that there's going to be ups and downs. Can Dylan play better? Yes, he can. Can we play better around him? Yes, we can. Can we coach him better? Yes, we can. So I understand the question, but I just trust that our young players at every position, and certainly at the quarterback position, are guys that are going to work their tails off to get better every single day.
Do I hate the rhetorical questions in the month of November? Yes, I do. Here is Dan Orlovsky yesterday, the NFL on ESPN. This is pregame, leading up to the Packers and Eagles last night. Go ahead and hit this.
The number one name that I would pay attention to if I were the Giants is what happens in Cleveland with Kevin Stefanski. If I could handpick a guy, it would be Stefanski. He's an outstanding coach, 2-time coach of the year. I understand people in Cleveland are like, this guy can't coach. There's a lot of empirical data we would say otherwise. This is a difficult spot for the Giants. I really believe that because there's no question you need to get a guy that's going to bring the best out of Jackson Dart, obviously. But it's also when the Giants have been at their best, it's been under like a coach like a Parcells or a Tom Coughlin, a defensive-minded, hard-nosed, disciplinarian, tough. It fits the culture. It's not just offensive-centric. So it's trying to find the balance. I would go Kevin Stefanski. I would go Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator of the Chargers. I would entertain John Gruden and maybe Matt Nagy, but Kansas City. But I would pay attention to see what's going on in Cleveland.
None of those things are about accountability that we've ever talked about, so I don't understand that. The empirical, are you thinking the same thing with empirical?
No, I just was laughing at the mention of Jesse Minter, and someone is like, like kind of like, I'm on TV, I have to say something.
I didn't even notice
Jesse
that.
Minter.
The empirical evidence would be the scoreboard up there. In the words of Tuna, there's the scoreboard up there. That's what it is. That's empirical.
I saw that, and obviously Browns fans, after 2 terrible years where they're one of the worst teams in football, 2 consecutive years, and the offense, something that he specializes in, is not just bad for this year. It's like all-time bad. And we know all-time bad when we see it here in Cleveland because we've had some of the worst offenses in the history of football, modern-day football. I do think there is a thought, and I thought some of the losing would make some of this go away, would really hurt Kevin nationally with the perspective and the perception. I think just the perception is Kevin did not have anything to do with Deshaun Watson, and so they're in this rut, and it's the Browns, and it's Jimmy Haslam, and I do think that almost to this point, Stefanski is benefiting from that perception.
Then help me. Unless the only thing I can think of, and this is probably crazy, the only thing I can think of is that you don't want to be here anymore then. Help me understand you. Because they're putting you out there every single week. Nobody is coming to your rescue with this franchise. You're supposed to speak every single day, every like a few days a week, and after these games and all this stuff. You're out there having to speak for this franchise and answering questions flat out that you shouldn't have to answer. I can understand that, but the stuff that happens when you just say, well, we got to play better. Well, we got to do better. That doesn't help me. In fact, it makes me angry at you. Because Dan Orlovsky, I'm using Dan Orlovsky as an example, audio courtesy of ESPN. Dan Orlovsky's one piece, and I've had so many people. Kenny, they're both CAA guys. They're represented by the same agency. CAA has plenty of other coaches that they could certainly want to push into the Giants organization. That to me does not matter as much. There are plenty of people who think in the NFL who think Kevin knows what he's doing and thinks he's brilliant. Okay, well, if we're making the mistake of our lives, help me notice that. Help me. I don't want guys, if we're talking about easy stuff to do, it's easy to rant and rave against one particular person and say how bad that guy. It's easy to say how bad things are. It's hard to build. Just like any idiot can tear down a football team, any idiot can say a coach needs to be fired. It takes no skill whatsoever. That's why I hate doing it. That's why I don't want to do it. It's too easy. But any idiot can do it. Help me understand why we'd be making a terrible mistake. Please. I'm begging him right now, through the press conference, if he is that good, and he is a victim of all this some way, somehow, I'm begging you, how many more games do we have left? 8? 8 games left. In the next 8 games, which you ain't going to win many of them, please, I'll listen like a hawk. I'm begging you, please tell me why. Because there is a difference between the fans and everybody else, it seems. Some people are kind of, I'm not necessarily sure right now. Even Ross Tucker's like, I'm not sure. Okay, help me. Help me understand. If we're making the grandest mistake ever, help me know why. Why is your defense turning on you? Why are they basically giving up on you as a head coach? Why is that possible? Why are you having to answer for these trades that I don't think that you would make? Why do you have... Help me. And I'd love to come to your defense in some way, but I can't defend, we got to coach better, we got to play better. We all got to do better. We just need to do better. No, that just makes me mad.
That means nothing at this point.
It means absolutely nothing. So if the walls are closing in that much and you just don't want to be here, well, then there's nothing I can do then. But if we're making the mistake of our lives, according to Dan Orlovsky over here, please, somebody, anybody, get him to say something other than what he's been saying, because it's mind-numbing, and with every loss, you just get angrier and angrier because it feels like there's really no responsibility being taken. If you just keep saying, yeah, you know what, it's my fault, you're just trying to get through the motions then. 216-474-0092. All right, I keep saying I'm going to get to the calls. I'm going to get to you guys. And of all the non-answers he gave yesterday, there was one about the boogeyman that kind of stuck out to you. That's coming up. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, and Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz. Could they end up being the most hated athletes in Cleveland history? That's at 7:45 on The Fan. Tom Merriman and Merriman Legal. You know what you hate?
The Fan from earlier today and all today. Get over to 923thefan.com or favorite The Fan on the Odyssey app for all of today's headline segments. Headline Sports News continues every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Mackenzie Flume.
John Greco, 8 o'clock on The Fan. Also the Neutral Zone with Rat Boy and the Hog coming up at 8:45. MVP candidacies are starting to boil down. One falling out, where I don't know how that's going to go with some of the Browns fans out there, but we'll find out coming up at 8:45 with the Neutral Zone with Rat Boy and the Hog. I'm going to get to this audio coming up here in a bit. 216-474-0092. I'm serious. Lima put me to the task. I've come up with it. And I will tell you why later. The Giants are example number one why. I'm going to wait until January. I will wait. I hate these press conferences. I hate that I have to talk about them. I hate that we're being accused of low-hanging fruit when we have. There's probably 2 instances in the history of the 9 years this show has been together that we've attacked a press conference. But you and Owen wanted me to do it. I'll throw it right up there. There's the list. It's in the envelope. I haven't unsealed the envelope just yet. In the envelope, in the list, are the list of candidates that I like. You wanted me to compile a list? I compiled a list that's in here.
But how do we get access to that envelope? List?
When I decide to unseal it. Could it be after the Ravens game? I don't know. Could it be after the Raiders game? I don't know. It's still not after the Jets game. I have my list. You can guess who's on the list. You want to have a little bit of a deposition with me? See if I can give you a straight poker face if you guess a name that's on that list? Go ahead and guess a name that's on that list. Go.
Nick Saban.
No. That was easy. You did that on purpose. But there you go. Do you have a list?
I don't.
You don't have a list. You don't work that hard.
Well, I have. Last week I shared, I think, 3 names. The first one that came to mind, just because I'm thinking, you always go the opposite.
I have their bios written and all the reasons why I would consider these guys, and highlighted ones who I'd want at the tippy top.
I can just get all that on ChatGPT.
There's only 6 names here.
So I
have 3 guys I really like. That's how you got to make that decision.
Traditionally in sports, you always go the opposite of what you just had. Mm-hmm. And so the opposite to me of what we've had would be like Brian Flores. Defense, kind of a guy who shoots from the hip. He is considered a figure that is, there's no questioning who's the leader when it comes to Brian Flores. Like when he is he's got his flaws, because we're talking about a guy who's coached in the league before. So obviously there's no perfect there's no Sean Payton. There's no, even Mike Vrabel, I guess you wouldn't say is perfect because he got fired at his last job. But I thought like 3 guys that we've seen in recent years that I thought were going to be sure things. Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh, who has come in, and I think instantly we could see him, Mike Vrabel. Mm-hmm. Those are the 3 guys that I thought were obvious. Who is that in this coaching cycle? Who's obvious? I don't think there is one.
There's a few that are in the list, and I will unseal the envelope when it's time. Just like Paul Masson wines, man, with the late, great Orson Welles. They will sow no wine before it's time. 216-474-0092. I got more audio coming up here in a bit. Let me get to... Oh, hell, Tim and Elyria. You're next up on The Fan. Hello.
Hey, good morning, guys. You guys are being way too hard on Stefanski. You know, the press conferences don't mean anything. And, you know, it's just, to media guys like you, it means something. But I may be biased because I share the same hairstylist as Kevin, and by all accounts, he's a super nice guy, a big tipper. But I just don't, I think it's meaningless, these press conferences. You need play on the field, not press conferences.
Well, we agree that
you need play on the field.
But they're almost so meaningless that I wonder what is seeping through. Like when we have access to Kevin, he's obviously, you know, he could, anybody who criticizes Kevin, like, and this could be any coach, like Brian Dable, who just got fired, could go one-on-one with any of our callers who call the coaches terrible and then say, why did you do this? This was idiotic. And then 10 minutes later, I think you'd walk out after a couple drinks and be like, oh yeah, I guess he does know what he's talking about. Yeah. Like I do think that's obvious. At the same thread, I do think there's more of at a macro level, like how guys operate. And I think there are a lot of questions about who's in charge in that building. And I don't think that's the case in New England. I don't think that's the case in Pittsburgh. I don't think that's the case in San Francisco. I don't think that's the case with the Rams. And I think in Cleveland, we ask hundreds of questions throughout the week about who's responsible for what. And the fact that we don't know shows me the type of delegation of powers and I think a question of leadership
press conferences
around that team.
You got to understand the opportunity that press conferences are, Tim. They're opportunities to get the guys, to get your message out, to do a lot of what you want to do to make people understand what you're going through. And I think there's ways for them to get. I think there's ways for him to get people to understand without trying to throw his players under the bus. But he doesn't take advantage of those.
Yeah, according to Francois, our hairstylist, Kevin doesn't have a lot of power in the room. That's very frustrating, or in the facility. So he has to go through the motions because it's required. You have to have a press conference. But
I haven't seen him without a hat on in so long, though, Tim. I haven't seen him with he's been wearing it. Maybe now he can't be losing his hair because of the stress of the job.
Don't count it out.
He has gone very gray.
Yeah. But,
it's gone very salt and pepper.
The women like that. They like
it's veteran. It's a veteran look.
And they like to see
Meredith, you're a woman.
Because we all age.
I don't know. Is it true?
The salt and pepper?
Yeah.
That's kind of hot.
You like that?
Yeah. Why not?
Veteran look?
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, I'm like in my 30s. Like, if you ask maybe Mackenzie, who's, 24, 25, she might have a different opinion.
She has an open mic. Mackenzie.
No, I like it. A little salt and pepper.
Well, there you go.
How old are you, Mackenzie?
I just turned 26.
There you go. She's in her 20s. All right, I got two ladies on the show. I can only go by what the ladies said.
This is a bigger problem, though. I mean, if the ladies like Mackenzie, if the two of you are looking at somebody in that age bracket and you're like, that's the goal, then what hope do college grads have in this day and age in our society? I sound like Scott
None,
Galloway.
Anthony. Absolutely none.
Yeah, it's sad. They can't own a home. They're not happy with their employment situation. It's a very trying times for that generation. Men.
What the F are you talking about? What is your problem?
If you want, I can do a whole podcast.
What is this?
I can do a whole podcast on it.
Where did this come from?
I worry.
I think he's
I worry about this generation.
He's so scared for guys that are 20 years younger than him that Mackenzie, who is in her 20s, and me, who is in my 30s, that we both prefer guys that are, the late 30s, early 40s, kind of.
I just ask for guys who have hair. Like, I just would prefer hair.
So Mike Tomlin doesn't have hair, so that wouldn't be your go-to. You don't.
I thought Mike Tomlin had hair. You don't have hair?
I think he's completely bald. That's why he's always wearing it.
No, he's got hair.
I don't think he does.
Well, now I'm Googling. All right, back to the phones here. Michael in Dayton, hello.
How you doing today, man?
He's got hair. Look at that picture. There's hair right there. Sorry, Michael. Hold on. Look at that hair.
He's
got hair.
There is.
That's hair. It's not a ton, but that's a decent hairline. What are you talking about? Okay, this is him when he was young. That's a lot of hair.
Yeah.
Now, he's probably lost a lot of hair. I ain't going to lie to you. But that's hair. I mean, look at that.
He's not Marcus Freeman.
You're full of it.
He's not Marcus Freeman.
Marcus Freeman's got a bit of hair.
He's got perfect head of hair.
There's someone else who's lost their hair that I don't really talk about. His name starts with Keith, ends with Britain. Go ahead there, Michael. Go ahead.
Man, first off, man, I am 28 years old. I just want to say, I don't understand how Kevin Stefanski...
Kenzie's not into you, dude. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was distracted.
But no, I just don't understand how he's willing to die on this bridge. Like, I am 28. The last quarterback that was somewhat decent was Derek Anderson. Like, I've never had a quarterback where I'm like, you know what, this guy is good for 2 to 3 years. And it's crazy because, like, I know Kevin sees that we see this, and he's like, he just keeps saying, oh, we got to do better. We're going to get him better. But, like, he gets progressively worse. And it's just, I don't understand why he's willing to let us die on this hill. Like, I know he knows we feel this.
Yeah, okay. I just think if he says, the only thing I can think of, Michael, is that I think he thinks if he says anything, it's just going to make this way worse than what it already is. Now, I don't know how it can be any worse. I mean, good guy, but because if he stands up there, think about this. And this may still happen. I mean, we may still get this. If he's guaranteed his job until January, Michael, you bring up a hell of a point, and thank you very much. I want to get to this Watson stuff here in a second. If he gets to a point where he knows it's over at the end of the year, maybe he does. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. You know, the ownership is a very, very tight-knit group in the NFL, and he may be spiking his future prospects because owners do like a head coach that does not let the pressure get to them. And on the outside, when he just gives deposition answers, that's stonewalling you. That means I'm not going to let the pressure get to me. You're not going to ruin any future prospects. But he could look at it and go, you know what? You guys are dragging my name through the mud. You guys keep saying all these things about I'm powerless. I got no control of their team. I'm the head coach of this football team. And if he just decides to, that's why, I keep looking at the Mike Tomlin thing that he said and the Arians thing that he said, and it doesn't add up. And people thought I was crazy when I said what I said about Tomlin back then. Now they're all like, yeah, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. Look at what these guys say. Even the guy like Mike Tomlin does not care. He's solidified in his position, and if this is the last year, then this is the last year. Bruce Arians is done coaching. He won a Super Bowl. He's done. These guys are saying something, and it stands to reason why maybe not everything's is what it seems. And so if Kevin were to say, yeah, you think I wanted to trade Joe Flacco at the time? That'd be major, major, major news.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And if it's major news and there's still 8 games left, other people have to answer to that. But if he, in the month of January before the Bengals games, go, yeah, you think I really wanted to trade Joe? And we're getting ready to play Joe. I know Joe Burrow thinks he's coming back by the time Thanksgiving comes around. Maybe that's going to be true. But if he just goes, you think I really wanted to trade Joe Flacco at the time and force my young quarterback in there before he was ready? I mean, that's DEF CON. We're coming back into the studio during a vacation for that. Like, that's big stuff. And if he were to do that, I'd go, yeah, why didn't you say it 8 weeks ago? Well, he would look at it and go, I still got a football team. I have to get out there, and I don't want to force them to answer questions that they don't want to answer.
I just think
that would they're 2-7. The season's torpedoed anyway, but you don't want to be responsible for actually torpedoing the season.
I think where one of, and Lance, Coach Riz has been texting us, and he's talking about how when things were going well, his calmness, right, was an attribute, right? Like Kevin, the way that he kind of managed situations, that was an attribute, that he wasn't a, fly by the seat of his pants guy, winging it from the hip. That's not him, right? You can't be someone that you're not, for sure. But I do think in any position of leadership, whether it's football or anywhere in life, you got to be the bad guy sometimes. And I don't know that Kevin has it truly in him to be the bad guy. And I think that, God, if Owen was here, we'd be playing a certain clip from Ken Carman about being the bad guy. I think at times you got to be the bad guy.
Well, you're going to send Meredith on a walk.
No, don't do it. We did this with the power ranking the one time, and we don't need to do that.
Let me get this audio here. No, I think you're onto something there. I got to play this audio here. So he was asked a lot of questions yesterday. And one of the questions was asked whether or not the practice window would be activated for Deshaun Watson. Here was Kevin's answer.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's what we're doing.
Okay, what does that mean? I got to ask, what does that mean? Can you load that up for me again? Kevin, is this the week we activate Deshaun Watson's practice window?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's what we're doing.
Does that mean this week, or does that mean anytime?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's what we're doing.
Boy,
I'm not trying to turn a mountain out of a molehill here, but there was a lot of talk about it yesterday. It's our job to address that answer.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the year, I think most of us, when they were tearing down, so I remember I had boots on the ground, Ken. People were telling me, hey, they're tearing down finally the Deshaun Watson signage at the stadium. And we all looked at each other and were like, they're finally done. Like, they are done. It hasn't worked out. It's going to go down in history as one of the all-time bad trades, not just in the NFL, but sports. And you feel like you're shortchanged because the injuries piled up. Even when he was healthy, he was terrible. And so this is over. We're never going to see him again. But now we've already gone through, we're on our second quarterback. We're about to go to our third at some point. You've got half the season left. You got 5 home games. And we were always of the mindset that there's no way they would trot him out because the fans would be so far against it. But when you get, like, let's go through the thought exercise. They're going to go to Shador, not this week, but probably the week after, would you say?
Against the Raiders?
Yeah.
Oh, man, Shador versus Kenny Pickett, make it happen.
Don't you think there's a chance?
Please,
Lord. I'm being honest. Like,
please, Lord. Yes, I think there's a chance. That's why I'm saying it, yes.
So we're going to get Shador, and I don't know, unless he is the miracle worker that his fans seem to think he is, I'm guessing that will run its course with this offensive line, with those receivers, with these guys calling the plays, with all the problems that they have that is pretty obvious to everybody who has eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not going to work either. Doesn't it stand to reason that the guy that still has, $96 million on his contract or whatever it is, and if they've already lost the fans, The fans, it's already going to be a hostile takeover.
You're going to lose the fans even more.
When Buffalo, every fan's telling you they're apathetic anyway. So when Buffalo comes to town,
that's what they say,
and it's
but
all
that was
Buffalo
on
fans,
Monday.
like, why wouldn't they throw Deshaun Watson back out there at that point? Why wouldn't they?
You can name plenty of reasons why they wouldn't throw him back out there.
Which are?
I don't think he can handle it.
Oh,
when are they going to throw him back out there?
But you're saying
I don't think he can emotionally handle it.
Well, who could emotionally handle it?
Deshaun.
Oh, what does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Can I answer it when we come back?
Like, do you think he's going to fall down when he comes out of the huddle?
Can I answer it when we come back? 216-474-0092. That and could Emmanuel Class say, if this is true, be the most hated Cleveland athlete of all time? Ken Carman, Tone Master General on the Fan. Northeast Fan.
story. eBay. Things people love.
Whenever you need to talk about the Browns, we got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
All right, now 8 o'clock, John Greco coming up on the show. Now, I wanted to get to the Class A thing, and we're going to get to the Class A thing. You asked me, because the stuff about Watson got brought up, and I said, I don't think he could handle it. You go, what do you mean he could handle it? I go, he couldn't handle it before when he was 100% healthy. When he was healthy as a horse, he couldn't handle it. Now, he was rusty, but there is some guys have that skill. No matter, listen, guys, whatever is alleged is whatever. I'm pointing something out here. Yeah. There are guys who can absolutely clear whatever mechanism, and they do not care if you don't like them. They don't care if their home fans don't like them. They do not care. And they're going to go out there, and they're going to get their 50 points, or they're going to throw for 300 yards, or they're going to catch their 100 yards. They do not care. Those guys are few and far between. That's why they're called legends. Most guys, it has an effect on you when your own home fans don't like you and don't want to see you. So, you could play them. It better be one of them road games, because then you would just go in expecting it. But the whole thing has been weird, to say the least. His start, with the first start with the Cleveland Browns, was in Houston.
It was so bizarre.
And that was as bizarre as it gets.
Throwing ground balls.
And then you get the fans. And, hey, I know I was there, and I've said it a million times. Do I think it was the whole stadium of fans cheering when he got hurt? Absolutely not. I don't think it was the majority of it. I think that there was definitely a smattering. There's plenty of people who go, Kenny, you're full of it. Okay, fine. I can't argue that forever. But I guarantee, I can't guarantee, but I'm pretty positive I think I know what he thinks of that situation. And I don't think he wants to be here as much as anybody doesn't want him to be here. So if he goes out there, like, he's healthy and he's a player, he has every right to go through the practice and get himself ready, and maybe he'd have a chance. But I'm telling you, if he plays at home against Buffalo or Pittsburgh, and I know there's stadium takeovers and those fans are going to be there. I get it. But you're going to have all those Steelers fans and all those Bills fans letting them have it. And then you're going to have Browns fans who are there letting them have it. And then if things don't go our way, which they won't, when things don't go our way, they're going to doubly let them have it. Because then they're going to see Steelers fans over here to their left whooping it up, and they're going to get even angrier. It is not conducive for him to play for this football team this year.
I agree with everything you just said, but then I see this. AJ, Cleveland. I'd rather watch Watson start this Sunday over watching another second of DG.
Because I think that you are at your wit's end right now, and you just want to see something that's somewhat interesting. And some guy, because Dylan Gabriel, listen, I at times on Sunday I would have rather play with 10 than with Dylan Gabriel. I'll admit that. But I think we're just at our wit's end here. It can get worse, and it will get worse, precipitously worse, Nick Wilson, if you put him out there. They have. I mean, he's their player. You said $96 million. They have every right to put him out there. You are right about that. He's not active, but he's not on the full season IR. They have a decision to make, but they could put him out there. But if you do put him out there, you're going to have a lot of people. I don't think anybody in the stadium is going to be happy to see him. In Browns fans garb or any other fan garb. I think Steelers fans and Bills fans would have a hoot with it, but I don't think the Browns fans would like it very much at all. And I don't think that they would go out of their way to make Browns fans in a tough year as it is just mad. The other things, there's like, hey, because there are people, as much as I can get mad, they go, what are you doing, Kenny? You knew this team was going to be good. It's like, so I don't have to sit here and accept it and just take it and be quiet over it. But they go, nah, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your breath, you're wasting your sanity. There's plenty of people like that. But when you put them out there, it's different. It is different. And I don't think that would go very well. For us, for them, for anybody.
Well,
for him, no.
Look, the reality is nothing's going well. Nothing they do, no lever they've been able to pull has gone well. And I just wonder if it could come from ownership. Remember, Jimmy attended the wedding of Deshaun Watson. They continue. The messaging continues to be.
I would have went to your wedding had you not got married in a courthouse. I wouldn't play you on a Sunday against the Steelers.
Well, they continue.
That got to do with anything.
But the messaging continues to be consistent. That he's been showing up to everything. Remember last year when he was as far away from the team as possible, while Dak Prescott was going to the games on crutches. Like, that's not the case this year. This year, he's been a mentor. He's taken Shador, and like that messaging has had a purpose, hasn't it? Like, they could just not say anything, but it's clear that the messaging has been the messaging.
I think the purpose of that messaging is that everybody has to remain on friendly terms with each other so nobody ends up in trouble. I mean, you have a lot of money that's due. He could always look at it and say, well, I'm an active player. You have a right to work as a player. You can't just go throwing guys under the bus and making them look bad.
Sure,
because
but he wasn't.
Can look at it,
but he wasn't
turn
here
right
last
around.
year.
I understand that because you could say, hey, you need to go and you need to recover and you need to rehab, and the best idea for you to rehab is away from the team. You could always say that, and everybody could agree. This year's different. You can run, you can throw. There's a lot of things, and you can technically rehab and be a part of the team. You have to remain on good terms. He needs to remain on good terms, so the Browns have to fulfill his contract. The Browns need to remain on good terms. I've said this to you a million times. I'll say it 1,000,001 times. The Browns need to remain on good terms so he doesn't turn right around and try to hold them liable for ruining the rest of his career. Because once he gets let go from the Browns, which will probably happen this summer, once he gets let go from the Browns, he's going to want another job in the NFL. And the Browns need to make sure that they don't say anything that's really bad. Let other teams go out and get and have their chance to go out and get Deshaun Watson. So everybody's got to remain on good terms here. So there's no other litigation that's brought into this.
So you don't think we'll ever see him again in a Browns uniform?
Oh, I can say never, but I don't think it'd be the best idea. I think you will go from Dylan Gabriel to Shador Sanders to Bailey Zappi, and by the time the Bailey Zappi, I think, they're hoping that it's week 7 or week 18 against the Cincinnati Bengals, and we just move on into the offseason. If Emmanuel Clase is found to have thrown bad pitches during the ALCS, does he automatically go to the top of most hated Cleveland athletes?
That would be pretty all-time egregious, right?
Uh-huh.
Especially because he famously blew games in the World Series.
Now, he didn't blow them on purpose, from what we know.
Right.
There was a couple bad pitches, and again, this is all alleged, but in the indictment, they believe there's evidence of bad pitches being thrown. The gamblers that he worked with collected allegedly $450,000 on this. He received kickbacks, according to the indictment. There's a lot of bad stuff here. He could do 65 years. He won't do 65 years, but it's up to 65 years on wire fraud and all types of other fraud.
I wonder, he's obviously undermined any credibility in all of this.
Well, he can't come back.
But
that's it.
What's funny is, like, so few times did, they caught, the things that the sportsbooks caught were like 6 or 5 or 6 or how many notable times where the money fluctuated to such a degree that it tipped off the sites. And so
I'm not sure.
Yeah, then obviously they immediately contact Major League Baseball, and there's immediately an investigation, and then the FBI gets involved. Unless he was, here's the question, was he, and everything is going to be open for interpretation and speculation. Like, do you think these guys ever got smart about how they did this? Because, like, Terry Rozier, again, allegedly, was not very smart about it. Like, there were the handful of times where the suspicions were raised based on, way more bets than normal coming in for such, minor. This was, in this case with Class A, it was pitch velocity. Did you even know you could bet on that?
I did not know that.
Should you be able to bet on that?
I don't think you should.
I do have to say, in all this...
Well, anytime I talk about limiting props, I get screamed at on the internet. So
I know we got to go, but I got to say, like, if you're betting on that stuff for any other reason than recreation, like to have fun in an instant gratification, but if you're trying to really win money based on velocity bets, I kind of think a bunch of this is on you, too. Like, these are always easily manipulatable. Like,
well, everybody gambles to win money.
No, there's some people that just do it to have fun. Like, they're willing to lose.
They still do it to win money. They want to win money.
But they're willing to lose. Like, I'm bringing $50. I'm willing to lose $50. I just want to have fun doing it. That's very different from I'm betting on Emmanuel Clase's velocity because I want to own the books. Like, that's just dumb. If you're doing that, then you're an idiot.
I'm not trying to be difficult. That is correct. That is correct. But it doesn't matter. If someone feels ripped off, they're going to feel ripped off, and they're going to want retribution for it.
Sure, but I think,
and as a fan, it doesn't even matter if you gambled or not. If you find out that he threw bad pitches in the ALCS, for crying out loud, when the team hasn't won a World Series in 77 years, I think the people are going to be pretty upset about that.
Hell yeah, they would be.
Okay. So as long as we're all clear on things, like if he's found out to be guilty of this, because this says this goes back to May of 2023, if it goes back to somewhere around May of 2023, which is an obscenely long time, and then Luis Ortiz apparently joined this whole thing like last June, if this goes back to that May, and we find out that he threw bad pitches in the ALCS or any of the postseason on purpose, I think it changes the entire scope of things. When you look at it, if you look at hated Cleveland athletes, like I don't think Jose Mesa was trying to throw bad pitches on purpose.
No.
Think of the other guys that you can't stand.
I guess I just don't understand how we wouldn't know already. Wouldn't we have seen the irregularities in the betting that would have flagged that, and wouldn't it be a part of the investigation? Like it hasn't been as of yet. They got him with the stuff that they know they have him on.
There's some things that we still don't know. There are unknown knowns and unknown known knowns, so we don't know about those quite just yet. Coming up next, John Greco going to join us on the show. How close is Kevin Stefanski to losing this locker room, or has he already? And at 8:20, Darius Garland injured his toe again. How devastating could this injury be? We're about to find out coming up on The Fan. Peter and
That's kind of the first time it's given me some pause as to whether or not Stefanski thinks he is, in fact, on the hot seat.
Catch Odyssey NFL insider Ross Tucker on Afternoon Drive every Wednesday at 4. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I thought that was the theme song to Oz for a second. The Neutral Zone with Rat Boy and the Hog coming up at 8:45, and Darius Garland's toe injury. How bad could it really be? Speculation is running rampant. We'll get to that coming up at 8:25. Right now, let's go to the fan hotline and welcome in John Greco, former Browns guard, current Browns analyst. He is on the fan hotline. John, in my hand, I have an envelope. It's sealed. It's my list of candidates for the Cleveland Browns head coaching job. When do you think that I will have to unseal this envelope?
I think you will have to unseal that envelope. Man, this is right out of the gate. I love this.
This is like Johnny Carson and Karnak the Magnificent.
Yeah. Now, what do I think happened? What I should happen? They're two different questions. I'm going to answer what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
I think that envelope is going to be sealed for longer than everyone else thinks.
Okay. Whoa! I didn't know that was such a bombastic opinion, Tone.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, I mean, the way this is trending, but Greco says not so fast.
Okay. Continue, John.
Yeah, I just, I go back and forth and it's thinking about things, and the way this thing is played out, I just, you saw Giants make a move. You saw other head coaches lose their jobs for far less than what we're seeing. And I said on the show last week, when certain things happen, it's when people start losing their jobs. But the press conferences, the way that game went down Sunday, and we got through yesterday, and today's a new day. It just seems like Coach Stefanski operates and speaks as if he has been told or knows that no matter what, his job is safe, and that he's just here buying time for next year. That's what I'm starting to think. That someone in the front office, whether it's Mr. Haslam or someone, is telling him, look, we have the ammo to go into the next year's offseason and draft. You need to just start preparing for that, and that is the goal. Right now, try to win games, I guess. I don't really know what the strategy is. I don't want to say, the whole idea of tanking, I get that it happens, and you can look and say, oh, they're tanking, but you can't tell the players on the field to tank. So they can make moves behind the scenes to make it easier for them to lose. And it does seem like they're doing that, but on the last play of the game, 4th and 4, you don't tell that player to jump off sides and lose the game. So things are happening to achieve that goal, if that's the goal. But I just think Coach Stefanski, it seems like he's operating that he knows something that we all don't. Or I would think that you would see a little bit more fire under him, and the press, send a message. It's just so stoic. It's just so monotone at all times. And I get, he's never too high, never too low. Even when they win games, he responds the same way. But the way that they're losing and the quarterback play, it's hard for me to defend. I try to come on. I try to be, a guy. I don't like throwing people under the bus, but it's hard to defend now. And you see the reactions out of some of the other players. And, 4th and 1, when there's guys open and they don't run the ball and the ball's not being delivered where it needs to be, and some of the errant throws, it's really getting hard for me to defend. And for no changes to be made, that's where I'm questioning. Are they really trying to win? And if a guy's job is on the line and he has a say in the outcome, why are there no changes being made? So that's kind of where I'm at this morning. And after, watching that game Sunday.
Well, I'll tell you this, John, my issue with it, and Lima and I almost had an argument, but I think I agreed with him. He wanted Cam Thomas cut after what happened on Friday or after on Sunday. And, The reason I disagreed is I don't think it proves anything if you cut him. You want accountability. The time for accountability was 6 years ago. The time for accountability was whatever when it came to, well, do we have to get rid of Baker? Or do we have to do this differently? The time for accountability was not putting the C on Deshaun Watson's jersey at the cost of Nick Chubb's jersey, not giving him a game ball for 150 yards passing, not dealing with Jadeveon Clowney for another 2 months after we know that there was a locker room argument in the postgame where Jadeveon Clowney just didn't want to go back out there. That was the time for accountability. Now we haven't had accountability. We haven't had it. And so if they were to do it now, I'd go, well, wait a minute. And all of a sudden you want to be accountable to everybody? Now all of a sudden you want to you act like a franchise that's moving forward and has a standard? I wouldn't believe them if they did a thing. Why start now? Why start holding anybody accountable now, John?
Yeah, I'm with you. And, I don't want to, a guy made a mistake and jumped off sides. And, yeah, the timing was awful, and lost. That one play resulted in a loss. But, when coach says, well, there's other plays in that game that lost the game or contributed to the loss, those are all true. But I'm not in this situation where because I've been a player that has made a mistake in a crucial part of the game, and the next morning I'm like, man, is my nameplate going to be above my locker tomorrow? So that's a bad feeling. And for you to
but why did you feel that way, John? Why did you think that could even be a possibility?
Because of accountability, and because if you're the result, the negative result of a game, it's job security, and you're worried about that goes across anywhere, any business. If you're not performing and you cause the greater good and the group to not win or achieve their goals, you feel like you're the weakest link and you might be gone. So that's kind of what I thought. No, it never happened because cooler heads prevail, and it's like even though I may have had a penalty in the fourth quarter or missed that block, there were other parts in that game that everybody could have done differently. And I think, if you just start cutting people to try to say, oh, well, we're going to hold people accountable so they don't catch this ball, they're cut. That last play was ugly and bad, and I'm sure, he feels terrible. But, to Ken, to your point, if you just start cutting guys now, and it's just going to look like it's forced, and you're like, well, okay, where's this all been? There's been so many things leading up to this point that are just ugly. And I would just think that would seem kind of weak for them to do right now. But, is that coaching? I know Coach Stefanski takes the blame, and he's like, well, that's on me. He's not out there, holding those guys back to jump off sides or pushing them forward to jump off sides. You can coach like, hey, listen, you got to know that those guys aren't going to snap that ball, and they're trying to. You can hear it from the sidelines. And that was just a mental lapse by a player. Do I think he should lose his job for it? Maybe lose reps and opportunities, but to cut him right now, I don't know what that would accomplish. It's just you move on, but I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for that one.
Yeah, John, I guess what I'm saying is that there's no stakes within this organization. Nobody gets benched, nobody gets cut, nobody gets fired. And I know it's 6 years, so Ken's right. He's got me. Like, if you do it all of a sudden now, it almost seems like a panic or desperation, or you're trying to save your job. And all I'm saying is, I just don't know that accountability thing. We say it a lot, but we don't really know what it means within the Browns organization, because there just seems to be we're always on the same page. We're always of the same mindset. When we all know, when all is said and done, when somebody moves on from this organization one way or another, we're going to find out that they weren't on the same page, that, there were vehement disagreements, because it's life. That's normal. And the messaging that they're putting out, along with the way they seem to be aligned, and then by viewing how the team operates, I just wonder if there is any accountability in that building.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it also makes me think and wonder, who's really in charge and who really has the final say. Because, if Kevin Stefanski had the final say, maybe he would do things differently. I'm speculating. I don't know. If the head coach has the ability and the freedom to make changes, you would just think by now changes would be made and accountability would be taken. But it's not. And is that solely on him? Maybe. I don't know. We're not in that building. So behind those closed doors, when Kevin goes upstairs and meets with the brass and meets with ownership and meets with whoever in the front office, what is being told? We don't know that. So when it trickles downstairs and you're a player and you're like walking around on eggshells because, surely a change is coming today. We got to try to win and it's not working. Surely a change is coming and it just never does. Then you're like, man, what's going on? So that's kind of where my head's going right now. It's like, does he have as much control as a traditional head coach would, as we would think Mike Tomlin does? We saw him cut Juan Thornhill. To send a message and say, hey, look, we're in a race right now and we're in a fight, and if it's not cutting it and we're coaching you up and it's not getting done, we're moving on. It just doesn't seem that it goes that way in Cleveland in this current situation. Why? I don't know.
Are you ready? I'm sorry, because I don't want to. We're getting close to it here. Are you ready to move on from Dillon Gabriel?
At this point, yes, because a change needs to be made, and it starts there. It's always with the quarterback. Now, I've said it on this show in defense of Dillon Gabriel in the first couple starts. Do I think it's going to look drastically different? No. Did the play calling look drastically different? No. So now the next thing is, let's see if a different guy under center or catching the snap, taking the snap. Let's see if it provides a spark, if it looks different. Do I think it's going to be all of a sudden a 38-point offense? Probably not, because I think they have other issues, but it's got to look better than this. I think Shedeur can probably make a little bit better throws and be more accurate, something that we thought Dillon Gabriel was supposed to be. So that just brings me back to my original point. Why is he not in there? Why has a change not been made? Are they trying to win or not? And who has the final say? Coach Stefanski just kind of operates as if, we're sticking with Dillon. Well, it hasn't improved. It hasn't looked better. Quite frankly, it's looked worse, and I think everybody can agree with that. So why aren't they making a change? So if they're trying to win, which the players are, you would think they are. The fans want to see wins. I would think a change needs to be made. Now, again, is that going to solve all their problems? I don't know. I think they have other issues. But I think at this point, yes, we've seen that what Dillon Gabriel can do with what's around him. He's not good enough to elevate what's around him and win them games. Now, if the offense was a playoff caliber offense and there was weapons all over the place and the scheme was looking good and they were balanced, could Dillon Gabriel execute that? I think so, and get him out of some pinches and coordinate some drives. But they just don't have the supporting cast. So can Shedeur Sanders come in and elevate? Time will tell. We'll see.
All right, ask him real quick. Ask him the diabolical question you had, or the troll question.
I had a troll question?
That wasn't a troll question. That was a real question.
Which one? I have so many.
Would you rather see Deshaun Watson than Dillon Gabriel right now?
That's diabolical. I told you guys a couple weeks ago, I said that we would see Deshaun Watson, and I reserve the right to change my mind at a later date. I still think we're gonna see Deshaun Watson playing for the Cleveland Browns this year. I do. Now, your question was, should we see him over Dillon Gabriel? Was that the question?
Well, would you rather see him than Dillon Gabriel?
That's too diabolical. I'm going to plead the fifth.
Oh, my God. That means yes. It means yes.
Yeah, it does.
If it was no, you would just say no. Oh, my God.
Guys, I want to see Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, my goodness.
I want to see Shedeur.
What a cop-out. Total cop-out.
It's not a cop-out. That's what the entire fan base wants to see.
I can't believe it. Usually I'd say you can take the guy out of Youngstown. You can't take Youngstown out of the guy. The Youngstown has left you. If this was still John and Boardman talking to me right now, he'd have given me an answer. He would have beat around any bushes.
Like I said, I reserve the right to change my mind at a later date.
Fine.
Now, this is where we're at in this season. It's a mess. We don't even know what to talk about. It sucks. We just want to see a win. I don't give it a crap who is under center. I want to see a win.
You almost said something else.
If that's Deshaun, I did. If that's Deshaun Watson, trust me. If Deshaun Watson plays in a game and they win, nobody's going to be happy for him, but they're going to be happy the Browns won. And if Shador Sanders comes in and lights it up, then we're going to start pointing fingers. It's going to be ugly because it's like, why didn't he get a chance earlier on? Why was he, not dressing? Why is he not taking reps at practice? So there's so much that has to go into it, and there's still a lot of season left, guys. So I am still holding my opinion, and I think Deshaun will play in a game.
All right, excellent, John. Thank you very much for the time. All the best.
Guys, talk to you next week.
John Greco on the Fan Hotline. Well, that was positive and uplifting, now wasn't it?
I tell you, he said that he would make some really bad mistakes in a game, and he would go back into the locker room wondering if that nameplate was there. And I'm like, why? Why would you think that? Because there are times when a message is sent.
Sometimes bad things just happen, and sadly, that's what happened last night. That coming up in 5 minutes. Coming up at 8:45, the Neutral Zone with Rat Boy and the Hog.
92.3 The Fan, 2020 Sports.
The Cleveland Cavaliers couldn't.
half of the way. Because with one partner, you get more than materials, you keep your job moving. The Home Depot Pro. It's about time.
When you want the latest on the Cavs, we're the station you turn to first. 92.3 The Fan is Cleveland's home for breaking sports news. Your teams, your station.
What the hell are we going to do about Darius Garland? He got hurt again last night. Some people were upset saying he rushed back. They rushed him back. Oh, well, he might have wanted to rush back, but I don't think they rushed him back. Wasn't he cleared for total play by the doctors?
Not only that, he has been so far ahead of schedule this entire time. The problem with that injury is you don't know. I mean, you listen to the NFL guys who've had that injury. Didn't Deion Sanders famously have
lost a toe?
Well, no, not because of that. I'm talking about
But I thought he lost. I swear to God, I thought he lost a toe because of complications from his former turf toe.
Oh, I thought it was other issues. Okay, I didn't know.
Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I know that he's had a bunch of health issues, but I thought it started because remember which Super Bowl was it? They didn't know if he was going to be able to go because of this. Because I think it was with the Cowboys because of the turf toe.
This toe stuff. We were cautioned immediately by some people that are like, that injury is a tough one. You can't just, hey, get surgery. It's going to be all fine and dandy. Like, there's a lot going on down there. And of course, you put all your weight on that. And the way that basketball players in today's game, it is nonstop sprinting. I think they run like 3 more miles a game than they did like 15 years ago. It's a totally different game, especially with Darius Garland and the ball in his hands. And the fact that you saw him struggling through this last year, this is literally the last thing that the Cavs organization wanted to see. I'm hoping that it's just because Donovan Mitchell didn't seem like he was all that concerned after the game. So that gave me pause to be like, all right, maybe it's not we're not reverting right back to last year in the playoffs. But it did get me nervous, especially with his confidence. Like, he needs to know that he can get to the spots on the court that he needs to get to because the offense is completely different when he has the ball in his hand.
It is concerning. It's concerning because I highlighted this at the beginning of the show, and you didn't disagree with me, so I know I'm hitting it here on all cylinders. I think there is a difference between soft and a guy who's just injury prone. I think that he is, and this is going to be taken as a slight. It's not. It's just the truth. You're 6'2", you're thin, you're brittle. He's an often injured guard. I don't think that he came back too soon. You have good doctors who cleared him. Kenny Atkinson was on the record last week about no minutes restrictions or anything like that. I think that they would not try to force the issue with him being out there in a game in November. I don't think that they would lack that much common sense. I'm going to give the team that won 64 games with a good basketball coach, as of right now, the benefit of the doubt. If I find out more information, maybe I'll lose my mind. Maybe I'll fly off the hinges. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say the doctors cleared him. They cleared him for full contact, full play. He played. I think it was an unfortunate incident what happened yesterday. Now, you just brought up what Donovan said, where Donovan kind of made it out to be not the biggest thing in the world. It doesn't have to be not the biggest thing in the world to keep me from playing him. My focus is still going to be on finding different ways to move the basketball, forcing people to get out of their comfort zones to make this team better. You've been in your comfort zone, and you can win a lot of basketball games in the regular season. I got to force you to get out of your comfort zone to see whether or not you can handle what needs to be accomplished in the postseason. Because there's just teams that they match up differently with you. They match up better with you. I think it's an insult, and I think that it's a warranted insult to call the Cavs soft. But over the last few years, you've been called soft. So now you have to find a different gear. I think that could be helped without Darius Garland, but this team is much better with Darius Garland on the floor.
Without
much
a doubt.
Better. I think that was proven this last week.
Okay,
this is a blow.
Early in the show, we went over the calamitous final play that the Heat engineered with 0.4 seconds left that easily won the game. Remember, Kenny Atkinson kicked out of the game.
Yes.
Because he didn't like the free throw disparity in the third quarter. It was like 20-2. It was a joke.
You let him have it.
So Thomas Bryant is your acting head coach, and they guarded it about as bad as you could possibly guard it. So they just gave up the game winner there. 65 3-point attempts by your wine and gold, the third most in NBA history. last night.
That's a lot.
This is not your father's NBA. This isn't even your older brother's NBA.
No.
This is such a different world.
Your older brother's NBA was a lot of fun. Rasheed Wallace wearing championship belts to the arena and Barry Sanders jerseys. That was a great NBA. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Sam Merrill and Donovan Mitchell alone combined to take 32 threes in a game. I put up a box score on Twitter from 1989. The legendary series between the Bulls that went 5. Remember, the Bulls and the Cavs. I went to, because I want to cherry pick, I went to the highest scoring game in that series. And in that game, I think it was a game 4. In that game, the Cavs shot how many 3-point attempts? Remember, last night, 65. In that game.
In the whole game?
In the whole game.
And this is going back to 89.
89 with Mark Price and Craig Elo. They were sharpshooters. They were
9.
2 of the biggest.
9.
A little bit less.
7.
Little bit less.
Well, how many did the Bulls shoot? Do you know how many the Bulls shot?
A little bit less. No, the Cavs.
I know, but how many did the Bulls shoot?
Oh, okay, I got to pull it up again. The Cavs combined for 4 3-point attempts.
How
in
many
that game.
did Chicago shoot?
I got to go find it. I lost it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't mean to say, because I wanted to, like, is there a comparison where you thought you had to shoot with them or anything like that?
No,
or were we just a bad matchup?
It is just hilarious how much the game has
They shot 4
changed.
combined threes the entire game?
Yeah. Elo took 2, Price took 2.
I remember,
that was it.
I remember treating threes
That was
like
the diet of shots in that game.
I remember treating 3-pointers like it was this wild roller coaster to see a guy spot up and shoot a 3. Like Reggie made it. It seemed to be a little bit more in the era. And now it's obviously it's what the game has become. I don't know if that's what's best for the game, but either way, got 65 last night.
Yeah, the Bulls took 9 in that game. So they combined for 13.
Yeah. How many did they actually hit? Oh, my God.
And last night in that game, the Heat took... I mean, this is the way the league is, obviously.
Probably more broken
right
noses
now.
than hit threes.
Yeah. They took 36 threes. So combining for 101.
Be careful out there on the roads. 271 southbound is a total mess right now. Let me get to Dave in Seville. He's been mostly patient. Dave, hello. Thank you very much for the patience. You're next up on the Fan. Hello.
No problem, Kenny. This is what Darius needs to do. He needs to talk to Dr. Klay Thompson. Are you there?
Yeah, I have you. What are you talking about? The basketball player?
Yeah, the basketball player that had the MCI and took the extra year off, and now he's completely fine. That's what all these players need to do, because yes, they're great in talent, but they're really stupid upstairs. They need to take the extra year to heal, because your body needs at least 2 years to completely heal, to do the strenuous
2 years.
stuff. 2 years. That's what Klay Thompson did. 2 years. And to do the strenuous stuff.
But but Dave, wasn't that a different injury though?
They would just trade Darius Garland. They're not wasting away 2 years in the Donovan Mitchell window.
A foot injury takes longer, guys. I'm telling you. Okay? I don't care what the doctors are saying. It takes longer to do a strenuous thing, because you're putting a lot of weight on your foot.
Wait a minute. These are advanced doctors here. They got degrees.
Kenny.
What?
They told Klay that he could go back and play the next year, and then Klay said, "You know what? I'm going to take the extra year," because he looked it up.
But Dave, you're saying you know more than these doctors.
I'm not saying I know more. I'm saying Klay looked it up.
Okay. Dave, I'll look it up. All right. Now I'm calling. You and I know a podiatrist. You want to get the podiatrist on? Lima?
No.
Okay.
No, we're good. I have plenty that they were worried. I will say the podiatrists that I know were absolutely worried about his injury last year during the playoffs. And they're like, he's just going to have to gut it out through this. It's going to be really hard, but he's going to need all the downtime. Well, the thing is, he did. He took off the time, and they said his rehab was ahead of schedule.
I hope this isn't nothing too terrible.
By the way, they're also worried about the Jones fracture that Max Strus sustained. They said that one can be really, really ugly.
What's it with this team and feet?
That's the Jonas Ilgauskas.
Going back to Z, damn it.
The 30 screws in his feet. That guy, I will tell you,
to have any sort of career after that was remarkable.
You guys don't understand. You don't understand what kind of careers Zydrunas Ilgauskas could have had.
I know. I would understand.
No, you
didn't
understand.
Tell me.
You understand that. I'm saying the kids that are listening today that, again, will not be able to purchase a house and will not be able to get Mackenzie.
You got to stop bringing this up.
They will not understand.
Well, they're kids now. Mackenzie's 26.
Oh, they're in that
Mackenzie
range.
turns into like the divorcee who says, you're just a baby, you're too young, when the friends come over to hang out with her son. That's how that turns into.
But I'm saying, if you're 25 to 29, you got no shot at understanding Zydrunas Ilgauskas and how good he was, and you got definitely no shot of being able to get a number from Mackenzie.
I forget, Mackenzie was a teenage girl, not a teenage boy. Mackenzie, I'll explain that to you during the break, okay?
Okay, I'm just say one comment about hair, and now I'm on the brunt of all the jokes.
Well, Mackenzie, you're not the brunt of any jokes. It's just Lima referencing something. See, that's a callback. Oh, he's referencing, and by the way, you didn't say it wasn't true. You didn't say it wasn't true whatsoever. He's done it twice, and you've never rebutted him this entire time.
You like hair, you know?
She likes hair. I mean, she likes a man with hair. What are you going to do? She likes what she likes.
What about a beard and a mustache to make up for it?
At what age
How about both?
At what age are you as a single person where you start to change your opinion on hair?
I don't know.
Because we all
30.
get to an age where things start to change. 30?
I think it's 30. Yeah, because like I said, Mackenzie's in her 20s. I'm in her 30s. A guy doesn't have to have hair. If he's good looking, he's good looking.
But have you changed your mind on that over time?
Yeah. When I was Mackenzie's age, I was the same way. I was like, no, he's got to have hair. But now that I'm like on the other side of 30, I'm like, you know what? Maybe not.
Yeah, a guy on the other side of 30 actually doesn't live at home and can meet his bills and have a job and hold down a job.
Has a car and a job and a life.
Yeah.
Turkey is an option nowadays, though.
Well, I'm thinking about how Donovan Mitchell's playing with all these guys in Mackenzie's age bracket on video games all day for 3 hours. The difference is Donovan Mitchell has, $250 million in the bank.
And hair.
Mackenzie coming up next.
But
with
a fiance.
The neutral zone with Rat Boy and the Hog, where the MVP odds have shifted dramatically. Plate tectonics on the move right now in the MVP odds coming up in 4 minutes on The Fan.
It's Anthony Lima for
888-866-3036 or visit TrimVia.com.
92.3 The Fan has the most local sports talk in town, and you can be a part of it anytime you want. Weigh in on X at 92.3 The Fan and see our hosts make your reaction a part of our shows. Powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. You'll hear the latest from Browns practice as it happens. Basket and Phelps, weekdays at 10, 92.3 The Fan. It's time for the Neutral Zone with Rat Boy and the Hog. Crank it up and rip off the knob.
You can tell this is the first time Mackenzie's ever heard this. All right, Mackenzie.
I'm a little stressed.
We do have to start out with you're doing something that's been brought to our attention.
What?
It's a pet peeve of some. I've never really cared about it. You've been saying Jaguars all morning long as opposed to Jaguars. Is there a reason?
Because they're the Jaguars.
Okay. Asked and answered.
216-474-0092. Are they the Jaguars or the Jaguars?
Jaguars.
It's Jaguars.
I've never heard that.
Is it not Jaguar?
No, that's the car.
Jaguar.
That's
we'll
the
just
car.
call them the Jags. Leave it at that.
They just say Duval, which is so annoying.
What was the other word that I was saying that you didn't
hate
like? There was another word I was saying that you didn't like.
The Browns?
Yeah, that was a good one.
I knew it.
Anyway, let's move on.
It's either that or something I was going to have to dump. Go ahead.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, off you
Yes,
go.
you.
You present the subjects, and then we discuss them.
Okay, so this is basically like... I don't know if you guys are messing with me or not.
No, Mackenzie, go ahead.
So did you get the instructions from Mitch on how this segment was to go?
He said he gave her the instructions.
He said in a text message yesterday.
What do you got written
that
down?
he has sent all of the different documentation and the various resources to Mackenzie.
I love the emails I get. You guys are mean to Mitch. Okay, yeah. Mackenzie was really set up for success here by the producer.
I did have stuff ready for about last night. That's what I was prepared for.
Well, no, we had to get into
Well,
Amanda
I'll start us off.
All right, go ahead.
In the loss to the New England Patriots, Baker Mayfield did throw for 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, threw for 273 yards, but was playing from behind the entire game, and it looks like his name has kind of been eliminated from all of the MVP odds at the top or any of those lists. But 4 weeks ago, everybody was talking about him as an MVP. Kenny, is it over for Baker as an MVP this year?
Okay, now, Mackenzie, you're supposed to go. Now, Lima, Ken, is it over for Baker as an MVP this year?
Is it over for Baker as an MVP candidate?
Okay, I'm going to say no because that's insane. We still have 8 weeks left to go in the season. This is as wide open as it's been. Now, I think Jonathan Taylor should be the MVP right now.
I agree.
As of right now.
I agree.
But Baker is not his MVP candidacy is not dead. Now, I had another observation of the game on Sunday that I wish I could say, but everybody's just going to go, you're a bitter Browns guy, so I guess I got to hold it in. So can I just get off my chest?
I was going to ask you, just Matt Stafford. Is he...
Oh, no,
Drake May is
Jonathan
another
Taylor
one.
should be the MVP right now. To me, it would be Jonathan Taylor, Drake May, then Matthew Stafford. But Baker's not out of the running whatsoever. Now, can I get off my chest? That was a Patriots home game on Sunday. And I'm just going, if we could have just worked something out, if we could have been the adults in the room and actually, held everybody accountable and go, your wings hurt, sit down. I mean, if we were 6-2 going into that game, you ain't going to have some Patriots fans take over. All right? Coulda, woulda, shoulda. I know. I'm not blaming Bucks fans. Go right on ahead, Mackenzie or Lima or whoever the hell's running this thing.
Would Baker, do you think Baker, when he looked in the stands and saw that kind of a takeover, when they're this good and supposed to be...
Probably annoys him.
It's got to be annoying.
Probably silently annoys him because, I had a buddy who was down in Tampa. He's like, I'm surrounded by Bucks fans. I go, they're not real. I go, watch the game tomorrow. It's going to be taken over by Patriots fans, guaranteed. And it was. They were taken over by Patriots fans. Now, we will be taken over by Bills and by Steelers fans, but, we're 2-7 right now. There's a big difference there.
All right, now, in 10 weeks, we've already had 46 quarterbacks start in the NFL. In all of 2012, in a 17-week season, we had 47. And obviously, the Browns, we still think there could be at least 1, if not 2, maybe even 3 quarterback changes. Kenny, how do you account for how the league is going through this many quarterbacks this early in the season?
Well, one is always going to be injuries. Mackenzie, you're supposed to go. Ken, Anthony, how do you account for this many quarterbacks this early?
How do you account for this many quarterbacks?
Very well done. I would say that 1 is always going to be injuries. 2 is that you're not getting good coaching in college. You're hitting the transfer portal. You're not getting any consistency in your coaching. That means you've developed bad habits that they're going to hold on to because they have to win football games in college. So you just carry these bad habits into the NFL, and because we still believe we just have to start these guys right off the rip, they don't get a chance to get out of these bad habits. So you're getting worse quarterback play coming from worse offenses with worse coaching to get ready for the NFL. I'm not blaming college football for it. They have games they have to win. They have jobs they have to keep. But it's not working the way it did where it would ease into the NFL. No. And that's why everybody said, like, you guys, we're going to get to the draft, and everybody's just going to be afraid to draft a quarterback. You're going to have to pick one you like, and we're going to have to go with it.
Do you think this has anything to do with the uptick of the mobile quarterback into the NFL? Because years ago, most of these guys would not have even been considered.
Right. Injuries, yeah. I mean, there's bigger bodies that are bringing these guys to justice, and bigger bodies, bigger guys falling on their ankles and things like that. Yeah, there's going to be more injuries. I mean, some of them still don't know how to protect themselves. You see a lot of young quarterbacks. Watch these games. A lot of former quarterbacks are the color analysts, and a lot of young quarterbacks are playing in these games. And you got to they can't take these hits. You got to learn to not take hits like that. They take hits like that, and they learn a very hard lesson.
One of you guys, I feel like, talk about it a lot. How important is it for guys just to sit out a couple years as a rookie?
Oh, I thought you meant because Darius Garland, somebody said, should have been sitting out a couple of years.
Oh, no.
You're saying playing the waiting game.
I told you what my idea would be. If you have a new head coach and a new general manager, I would sign up right now. What does San Francisco want for Mac Jones? I would get Mac Jones, and I would have another quarterback, and I would have him ready to go.
Mackenzie, do you have one final story to
well,
close
we
us
can
out
talk
with?
about this. I don't know if you guys watched the Monday night game yesterday. Everybody's complaining about the play calling. There was that 4th and 1 where Green Bay did the shotgun pass on 4th and 1 with like 40 seconds left. People were, both Nick Sirianni and Matt LaFleur, they were like, what is going on? Do you think this is like an all-around thing within the league, the play calling? Because we're seeing it here in the Browns.
Aikman couldn't even believe they ran a play.
If they ain't that great, you're still not going to get great execution out of it. But I do think, you know what, Mackenzie, I think that's a great question. And maybe Adam Stenavich is on the list.
Whoa, in the envelope.
Maybe he's not.
The pendulum has swung to way too far to the other side now, where coaches do not feel any hesitation. Just throw the football on 4th and 1, 4th and 2.
That's
think
true.
it's gone a little bit.
I got another theory,
berserk. We had a 4th down play. It was 4th and I think was it 2 or it looked to me to be less than 2 by the Eagle Eye, and we were going to run a pass play with Dylan Gabriel, and I'm like, I understand we've had a lot of no gains by your running back, but I think you can just give him the football and see if you can get those yards.
I'm not going to accuse Stenavich of this, or I'm not going to accuse LaFleur of this. I do think some of these guys are just getting cute. Yeah, I think that they're getting. I have said that about Penn State and Kotelnicki for years. I'm like, okay, because Coach Dan Casey likes you on social media. Oh, we're going to get cute with it. Let's do just a Red Rover down the line the whole way down. I think sometimes they get a little bit cute with these guys. And, people get mad at the Eagles for doing the tush push. They do the tush push because it's effective. Now, if they're jumping off sides, it's illegal. If they're false starting, it's illegal. And that'll probably be one of the catalysts for why it could change this year. But, yeah, you run what works. You execute. I mean, you can goof around a little bit too much, but there you go. Is that it?
That's it.
That's the Neutral Zone with Rat Boy and the Hog. Thank you very much, Mackenzie. Outstanding as always.
Yeah, I tried my best.
Coming up next, the Giants fired their head coach, which is exactly why I'm not pulling any plugs till January. Ken Carman, Tone Master General. It's Fat and Thin in the morning on the Fan.
Want to catch highlights from The Fan from earlier today? Get over to 923thefan.com or favorite The Fan on the Odyssey app for all of today's headline segments. Headline Sports News continues every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University of Hospital's Sports Desk, I'm Mackenzie Flume.
Headline Sports News every 20 minutes from the University Hospital's Sports Desk. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I'm going to make a case, even though you guys all hate me. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be fired. I'm just saying why I would at least wait until January. I'm going to get to that here in a moment. If I can find the sheet of what I wrote down to present my argument to you. I'm going to get to that in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, I was searching social media during the break. Cam Justice, News 5. Are you ready for this? Are you paying attention to this?
Let's go. Let's go.
I know you're all excited about how it's pronounced Jaguars, but we need to talk here now. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, your quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, is nominated for Pepsi Zero Sugar Rookie of the Week for Week 10. Which somebody wrote, are all the other rookies dead?
Oh, come on. He threw two.
Dead serious. Sam on Twitter.
Two touchdown passes.
Social media reactions brought to you by Scheib & Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Cam Justice puts out who he's up against. Tyler Shook, 19 of 27, 70.4% completion percentage, 282. It says TDs. I'm guessing one TD or two TDs. 128.9 passer rating. Trevion Henderson recorded 150 scrimmage yards, 147 rushing, 3 receiving, 2 touchdowns.
He's going to win.
Okay. Nick Emanuori had, what does that say, 9 tackles or 3 tackles? There's some schmutz on the computer. Either way, that's better. Jalen Walker, 6 tackles, a TFL, a forced fumble recovery. Emeka Ibuka, 115 yards and a touchdown on 6 catches. He is 1 of 6 in there. You guys don't want to get rid of Dylan Gabriel. I mean, he's a candidate for Pepsi Zero Sugar Rookie of the Week.
Crystal clear Pepsi Rookie of the Week.
He is Serge Cola Rookie of the Week material.
We got to revisit the touchdown throw.
Let's go through all of them.
We got to revisit the...
Did throw 2 touchdowns.
So that touchdown throw it ignited a huge
First
debate.
and 10, Gabriel, back to pass.
So... It was had a lot of
Gabriel looking to the end zone. Touchdown! Jerry Jeudy in the end zone.
So it had some hang time.
Did it ever?
I had a lot of people telling us we were idiots, and they said it was a perfect throw, perfect touchdown. How can you guys bitch? There's so many things to bitch about in the Browns game. How could you bitch about the touchdown throw?
Whatever. Fine. You guys liked it better. I get to play my slide whistle, so I don't care. Bitch my ear off all you want. You're mad that I made fun of Dylan Gabriel's touchdown pass that got lucky.
Oh, by the way,
that Jerry Jeudy had to bail him out on.
I have to say,
perfect pass, my ass.
Guys, the AI videos of Dylan Gabriel dressed like a baby in a diaper, very uncouth. Browns fans and Shador fans, come on.
They'll find other
What are you
AI
doing?
videos.
You know, what's silly about it is they can just make the same meme about your dude. Like, they can just make anybody look stupid on there. So
yeah, I did. They did that to me.
If you're gonna do that, just understand that it just can be used against you at any point. I would like to think we're above that AI slop.
Anything
or
more?
Maybe we're not.
Okay. Hey, I want Dylan Gabriel to do well. I mean, they do count as touchdown passes. It still got caught by Jerry Jeudy.
That was his play of the year.
Okay, I'm done with the slide whistle. Slide whistle going away. So I got into a big argument yesterday, and you guys read the thing, and you didn't even want to listen to it, and you got mad at me. You got so mad at me. What do you mean he shouldn't be fired? I said he shouldn't be fired yet. And it was a big thing where it's like, no, Ken. I go, guys, you come up with a plan first. That's why I have a list of candidates right here in this envelope, which I will unseal at the specific time. You come up with a plan of attack. You don't just go about this thing willy-nilly and say, well, I'll fire him without a plan to replace the guy. That's how you do the Joe Banner thing. I said all this. Now, did you disagree or did you actually agree with me on that? You've been a part of coaching searches before, and so have I. So we both have experience with this, and we've been asked our opinions on all three levels, by the way.
So I just real quick, because I want you to get back to what you're saying. I reached out to some people yesterday, some people that would be in the know, and I'm like, hey, is there any study done about teams that have fired their coach early to get the, quote, head start on the next coach? Because that would be one reason. The other is runaway freight train. The team has given up. They haven't given up. I mean, these guys haven't given up at all. So it's not about that. Just like Miami, we thought they had given up, and then what do? They pull out a huge win over Buffalo, and they're all dancing in the locker room. That team hasn't given up either. So sometimes we in the media, fans, we like to jump to the conclusion that you got to fire a coach now. That would be one reason you fire the coach. The other reason is, again, to get a head start. But is that necessary now? And I said, has there been a study done on the effectiveness of firing a coach early to get that head start? And he's like, it's kind of a moot point because teams get a head start on their coaching search behind the scenes and back channel, even while they've got a guy hired.
So this is what...
Does that make sense to you?
Like, exactly, yes.
So what is the advantage of firing the coach now?
Well, now you're going to start taking away what I wanted to argue about earlier today. Because people were arguing and saying yesterday, well, this is why you fire Kevin Stefanski. And I said, no, not yet. Again, not yet. Owen got mad at me. You got mad at me. The callers got mad at me. The American people got mad at me. And so I said why I'm not moving on from Kevin. I wrote it down and everything. Now I hope I can read it. Because my thought is, what's the plan to replace him? You have to come up with your plan. And to come up with your plan, now this is going to be a lot of going through some weeds here, so stick with me. Because this is what they should do when they make that decision. Because you're 5-21, it don't look like it's going to go well. What's your philosophy of what you want? Well, what do you want to be as a football team? Because especially if you're cleaning house, that means you're finding new philosophy of what you want to be as a football team. What do you want to establish as an identity? It can't just exist. You could pick the wrong identity. You can go too far with Paul DeBodesta land. Or frankly, and hey, we love John, but you can go too far with blood and guts and everything else. You can go too far in either way. What is your philosophy? Are you establishing a culture of accountability? Because you haven't here over the last decade. You really haven't. Okay? That's part of the reason why people haven't liked Paul DeBodesta, because you didn't have any accountability, whether it be coaches, whether it be general managers, except for one, whether it be for players, whether it be for himself. There's never been real accountability. So what is your philosophy? What is our quarterback situation? Our quarterback situation is much different from the Giants. They have Jackson Dart. The majority of the people in America think that Jackson Dart's off to a good start, do they not?
Oh, yeah.
Now, he plays
reckless.
A little bit too reckless. He's one of those young quarterbacks where the old quarterbacks watch you go, boy, you can't take hits like that. You got to learn to protect yourself a little bit. And it happens. But they look at their quarterback situation. They like their quarterback situation better than ours. We haven't even had Shedeur play yet. You got to get to Shedeur, because this is where you have to be. Where am I right now against the other jobs? Now, I could put us right there with Tennessee if I wanted to and go, Cam Ward, he doesn't have a lot of help. He doesn't have a lot of support. His owner's terrible. Like, we could go through all this stuff and say everything we want to about it. Do we stack up with Tennessee? Maybe, because we don't have our quarterback yet. Or do we stack up with the Giants? The Giants have their quarterback. You're already second if you make this decision. You're already behind it. You want to be number one, you're already the second best. Do we have our quarterback? And if we don't, where are we drafting? We have 8 games left. Right now, you're drafting number 4 overall. See, I have to make this enticing to a candidate. And then I have to be able to bring in candidates and find out what their philosophy is. Because I'm bad. I should be worse if I fired Kevin throughout the rest of this year. So you would say that this situation is bad. But then I go back to what Dan Orlovsky said yesterday. And this is what fitted my opinion up even more. When you got Dan Orlovsky saying he would immediately put in Kevin Stefanski as the head coach of the New York Giants, I know a lot of us go, what? What are you talking about? And people are trying to do the CAA thing, and I'm like, other guys are represented by CAA too. I don't know if that matters as much as you guys think it does.
No, it doesn't.
There are still a lot of people who believe that this is totally on the Browns. This is none of which is on Stefanski. They have victimized Kevin Stefanski, and I know that bothers you guys to your core, and it bothers me some too. Okay? If you were to fire him right now, you have 8 more weeks of everybody calling your organization terrible, a clown show, clown cars, and you guys have too. The difference is you guys have said it. You don't like it when other people say it. So then you have to make your decision. What are we going to do to change the perception of this? Because you could come up at the end of this year and go, okay, We gave him 6 full seasons. We gave Andrew 6 full seasons. It isn't going the way we wanted to. We finished 3-14 again, or 4-12, or whatever. 4-13. Now we have to pull the plug on this. Okay, if I have the number 1 or number 2 overall pick, I'm getting some coaches who are interested. Because now you're going to think quarterback. It's still, no matter what we want to say.
More of a blank slate.
Guys, no matter what we want to say about the current class, it's still going to be, if you have a quarterback, people are going to want to think about your job. If they think that you can get the quarterback, people are going to want to think your job. That's the only thing that really matters to them. You got another pick? Okay, now I can work with the general manager. So now you can work with that. But if I make this decision now, I don't want my franchise being thrown under the bus, and then I don't even give myself a chance with Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders plays with who? The interim coach? Well, that's not setting up Shedeur for anything, because I brought in Kevin Stefanski because he's supposed to be a QB guy. I know that this is falling flat on everybody. I guarantee it. I know, guys. I know what this sounds like. And it sounds like I'm making a bunch of excuses for my buddy. I'm not. I'm just saying why I wouldn't let him go until January. Because I don't know where my franchise is right now compared to the other ones. I can't just fire guys because I'm mad. Bad organizations do that. I'm doing my very best to not be a bad organization. I'm really mad over what happened Sunday. I was mad yesterday. I threw 2 fits during the show yesterday. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go fire anybody right now, because that makes the problem, that could stand to make the problem even worse.
Yeah, what if there was another game where one singular moment like stands out that everybody can point to? Like this one, there were 2 of them. There was the hold on 3rd and long where Justin Fields was never going to complete a pass. And then the next play, the play further down where they're able to eliminate your chances of getting the ball back because they go offsides. What if there's another situation like that in a winnable game where they all add up? Because I told you, like...
Is Shedeur playing? Is Shedeur my quarterback?
Oh, so you think that matters?
That's the only... I think we still need to see Shedeur before I press that. Because again, and I also have to focus on this. I don't know. We all have drawn conclusions of how involved Jimmy is. And to a man, to a woman, to a child, to anybody who calls in, none of you want Jimmy to meddle. But you guys want him to step in there and fire the coach because you're mad? So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah. I mean,
so if I'm Kenny Haslam over here, which you've called me before, if I'm Ken Haslam, I go, you guys all accuse me of meddling, and maybe I have in the past, but I've given them 6 years to work with this franchise. 6 years. 6 seasons. And here we are again. I'm not going to meddle with it because you'll just accuse me of meddling. And the rest of the NFL, people I respect, people I have to talk to try to find my next head coach and general manager, they're going to go, what are you doing? Letting go of these brilliant people. Which sometimes I think the joke's on us. Yeah, to convince the Browns these guys are brilliant while we go drive around them in all other aspects of the game. So that's where I'm at with this, you guys. It's not about protecting my booty or anything like that. He'll get another job. He'll be fine. He'll make a lot of money to go away when he goes away. But when I make that decision to go away from him, I'm not going to do it until the time is right. As mad as I am right now, the time is not right. It's not right. And I think I know when that time is going to be, but I can't really pinpoint it right now. I'm going to have to see number 12 eventually. And then we'll find out even more. 216-474-0092. All right. So do you agree? Do you disagree with me? Is that how that stands on that?
I didn't say I would fire Stefanski right now. Okay. I mean, I said I probably would have gotten rid of everybody at the end of last year. But once we came back with him.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the absolutely free Odyssey app.
XTENDAV.com. Extend Technologies, where they're...
earlier this season. And the Steelers announced they cut safety Juan Thornhill on Monday. The 30-year-old was in his first year with the Steelers. He was a starter early this season, but was phased out of the defense. In the last 2 games, he played only on special teams, not defense. Headline Sports News continues every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Mackenzie Flume.
Are we being too hard on Kevin? Some people saying yes. 216-474-0092. I want to get back to that here in just a second.
Some people saying not enough.
Too hard on Stefanski? Not hard enough on Stefanski. More on that in just a moment. You are the only man I know. You want to talk about different worlds. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing this to throw you under the bus. I'm not going to get into the history of it because I know you don't know a lot. This is how different Lima's world and mine are. Lima is the first man I know from Northeast Ohio who doesn't know anything about yesterday being the 50th anniversary of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. However, Anthony,
yes,
I'm the only man in your life.
Ken is the only person who ever talks about this shipwreck. I mean, I've heard the song.
Owen does with me.
Yeah, you guys. I think it's you guys find comfort and be able. You guys are
comfort.
You guys are very relatable to each other in ways that I sit here and I'm like, man, we just two different worlds.
We're blue collar guys, man.
Yeah, but
so
my dad and his friends were all blue collar guys.
Did your dad know? Your dad didn't know anything about the Edmund Fitzgerald?
If he did, I tuned him out. I mean, my dad and all his buddies were working on cars.
Is there a catalytic converter on the Edmund Fitzgerald?
Maybe that's why they were working on cars. They're working on cars was disassembling other people's cars. Either way,
allegedly.
It's amazing how obsessed.
One character from The Sopranos made a fine living before they shot him on a boat.
How passionate and obsessed you are about this story. I'm kind of jealous, to be honest.
Because, so I told Lima a story during the break a couple hours ago that I had a coworker at Fox 8, and I'm not going to name names. And she had no idea about any of this, okay? And everybody from Fox 8's from the area, so it's like, well, she's from here. Well, everybody's at Fox 8's from here. And I was like, how do you not know? And then I realized my wife doesn't know. My wife's friends don't know. Now, my wife's from Youngstown. There is a little bit of a difference there. That's the valley. You would think more on the Ohio River, the beginning of the Ohio River in Pittsburgh. You wouldn't really think about the Great Lakes region right there. Okay, fine. But, there was a lot of guys' wives, and I was texting, they didn't know about the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. I was like, this is probably a man's pursuit in so many ways.
Explains me.
It's a giant ship. Men have for long times thought about being a sailor, being out on the open waters. It's always a dream at some point for a man at some point in his life, an American man, and it's very just manly. 29 souls go down. Gordon Lightfoot sings a song. Meredith can't play it because we'll get our asses sued off. There's a lot about it that's fantastic and tragic and inspiring and so many other words that you could think of. And it does. It captures. If you're a man from the Great Lakes, it captures the imagination.
I live in a town that is on one of the Great Lakes,
and I think that. If your son was a little bit older, I think it would capture him a little bit more because the tragedy of it, how it happened, how it might have been prevented or how it couldn't have been prevented, those things, the mystery of it, how it actually went down. As the one mother of the one victim said, and I wish I had her name, but I forgot it, but the quote was a great quote where they said only 30 people knew, 29 souls and God knows how it actually happened, and none of them are talking. And I think it's a thing that has inspired men for now multiple generations in this region. And that song, when it plays, it's like that Seinfeld episode of Desperado. Like, it just happens for a man here. And you didn't know anything about it. I didn't want to rip you for it.
Well, I've heard about it.
I didn't want to rip you for it.
Don't get me wrong.
You don't care about history.
I've definitely heard about this, over the years. I just never had a huge desire to go back. And now it's almost like You've in essence belittled me for not knowing this, and it is making me say, all right, maybe I have to go back and watch something on this. Go to YouTube and find something on this.
All right. So if you can, there's a great author, John U. Bacon.
Doesn't he write about Michigan football?
Yes, he does, which is odd because I watched the live stream last night. I put the Cavs game on mute, and I watched the live stream of the 50th anniversary celebration of life of the Great Lakes Shipwreck Society. And John U. Bacon was speaking, and the man who presented him is an Ohio State fan, and John U. Bacon is a Michigan guy and has written books about Michigan football history and all the other things. But John U. Bacon is a wonderful guest, and he wrote a book, The Gales of November, and it's just come out, and he's become, not, I wouldn't say the authority, but he's become one of the most foremost thinkers of the shipwreck. So if you wanted to read a book on it, there you go.
I'll report back to you with my full report.
I just sent you a TikTok on it, Anthony.
Oh, thank you very much.
How long is the TikTok?
8 seconds. It sums it up nicely.
It's about 90 seconds. I think it's a pretty quick one. It's a very fast one.
It took like 24 hours for the boat to sink. Meredith?
Can you find me a TikTok on World War II?
I was just trying to play to Anthony's attention span.
Right. She's got me.
That's why I was like, well, TikTok is the place to do it.
The song itself is 6.5 minutes.
I thought the song was like 12 minutes.
No, it's 6.5.
Dan Menigan sent me a version yesterday, and it's like over 10 minutes.
They just play it twice then, because it's 6 minutes.
You only need 0.4 seconds to know what happened in the Cavs game yesterday. So, we're in a very different society. Attention span, very different.
Somebody tweeted me that it was, they thought that the boat was Gordon Lightfoot.
There's got to be a boat named Gordon Lightfoot, right?
I mean, at this point, yeah, right?
Yeah.
All right. Too hard on Stefanski, not hard enough on Stefanski.
Okay, so you know...
Dan Orlovsky of ESPN, he thinks we're making the mistake of a lifetime if we let him go.
Well, the number one name that I would pay attention to if I were the Giants is what happens in Cleveland with Kevin Stefanski. Mm-hmm. If I could handpick a guy, it would be Stefanski. He's an outstanding coach, 2-time coach of the year. I understand people in Cleveland are like, this guy can't coach. There's a lot of empirical data we would say otherwise. This is a difficult spot for the Giants. I really believe that because there's no question you need to get a guy that's going to bring the best out of Jackson Dart, obviously. But it's also when the Giants have been at their best, it's been under like a coach like a Parcells or a Tom Coughlin, a defensive-minded, hard-nosed, disciplinarian, tough. It fits the culture. It's not just offensive-centric. So it's trying to find the balance. I would go Kevin Stefanski. I would go Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator of the Chargers. I would entertain John Gruden and maybe Matt Nagy, but Kansas City. But I would pay attention to see what's going on in Cleveland.
I didn't notice the ooh after Jesse Minter either, but I just did.
Somebody's like, I haven't talked in a while.
Boy, you were in a mood today.
Who has ever in the world?
I do that all the time.
Jesse Minter is fine. I've probably done it too.
I do it all the time.
Jesse Minter's fine. I've heard him as a candidate, but is he worthy?
Why isn't he worthy?
Well, why aren't the other guys worthy of that?
I don't know.
Why is only Jesse Minter?
Well, the other ones are, it just depends on when you want to drop in. I'll go,
That's
yeah.
Hey, what if why did you say John Gruden?
Well, John Gruden is interesting. Is John Gruden on the list, though, for the Browns? I'm not sure. Well, I don't think at this point you're making a mistake if you let go of Kevin Stefanski. You're not making a mistake. I think that there comes a time where there's an end for everything, and there are certain situations where you can go, this situation has come to an end, and now this situation may be better for him. And he may very well know that. I mean, hell, by the answers he's giving in these the non-answers he's giving in the press conference, he may very well know that. I mean, this could be, I mean, no pun at all, but this ship has sank. So for him, he's looking at it going, what the hell's the point of this? I mean, I go on these rants all the time about what they're trying to do. I mean, Mary Kay, God love her, and I love Mary Kay. But this whole Super Bowl window 2.0, this is no window. This is no window. This is what you've built. This isn't the beginning of anything. This isn't a rebuild of anything. You went to the playoffs 2 times. You went to the wild card round twice. You got to the divisional round once. That's it. This isn't a rebuild of anything. If you were rebuilding anything, then you would still have the previous quarterback. This isn't a retooling, restocking. This is a nothing. This is what you built. That's why I got so angry with you yesterday about the tanking thing. This isn't the beginning of anything. This is the end. And to say it's anything else is to excuse what they haven't been able to do, which is build anything. Because, again, if you can't give me any consistency, then I think you just got lucky and you really don't know what you're doing. Good organizations, yeah, you kind of got to go through it at the very beginning. All right? That's true. But once you get it, you have to have some model of consistency. They don't have it. It's either feast, which feast is only 11 wins, or complete famine, what we're dealing with right now. And there's no happy medium. Like with the Rams. The Rams got rid of all the draft picks. They cashed in, they won a Super Bowl, and all of us thought that the Rams, boy, there's some hard times coming for that football team.
They have one down year?
At what, 10-7? Yeah. They had two 10-7 seasons. They might have had 1 year where it was like 9-8 or 8-8 or something like that. That was it. Because they've established consistency.
They had 1, 5, and 12.
Oh,
but
5
every
and
other
12,
year.
I beg your pardon.
But every
and then
other
it was
year,
10 and 7 the next 2 years.
Yep.
Okay, she had one down year, not two, not setting it up for everything.
And they didn't have any picks, too. We talk about
and they
we
didn't have any
3
picks.
first-round picks.
But you know what they did? They know how to scout. They know who they're choosing, so they made those choices. And those guys help out. Even the guys, when they get guys in the 5th round who end up being often injured, and they still are able to replace those guys. You know, that's why they're good. Because they can develop and they have the consistency. What talent do we develop? What talent do we develop? Everybody else takes advantage of when they get them. We develop no talent. We really don't know how to pick them. If you have one really good draft out of 6 drafts you've had, I'm just going to say you got lucky at the end of all this.
Well,
you've had a situation with two good seasons with your head coach, where it seems that the organization has done everything they can to get in his way. If we're going to victimize Kevin Stefanski in so many ways, fine. But this is what they are. Don't let anybody sit there and make any sort of an excuse and say, that's why I hate the tanking thing so bad. It gives them an excuse. Oh, this was planned. No, it wasn't. This was not planned. Giving up $96 or $92 million more to a quarterback who fans do not want to see was not part of the plan. Don't give me that. That lets them up. No. If this thing's going to be saved, you pull the nose up on the thing. And it ain't gonna. So at the end of this year, whatever happens, happens. The only argument I'm making is that I'm waiting until the end of the year. And you guys can hate those reasons all you want. I'm just giving you perfectly sound reasons, but everybody wants blood, so they want the guy to let go right now. Ain't going to make the situation any better whatsoever.
Well, it'll still give you plenty of time to be mad at whoever else is left at the end of the year.
Yeah, and you can be plenty mad at the other guys while everybody sits there and talks about your organization being the brand of dysfunction. And you guys know damn well, if you say it, you're allowed to say it. You're a Browns fan. You hate it when anybody else calls you dysfunctional. You hate it when everybody else calls you a circus. You hate it when everybody else says that you guys are a bunch of clowns. You absolutely hate it. You live it, you breathe it. You're allowed to say it all you want. Nobody else is. And they're going to spend 2 months, and we're going to hear about all these candidates. I'll open up the envelope, and all these candidates are going to go, yeah, I like New York's situation better. They have Jackson Dart. I like Tennessee's situation better because they might have Cam Ward. Now, I know that might be a stretch. Who are some of the other jobs that might open up after this year? I mean, you don't really know. And all those jobs may end up being better because, well, now we got the owner who's meddling again. Well, you guys wanted it. You'll get it. I'm just giving you, I know you're mad. And some, I'm already seeing on social media, some I ain't going to reach. Fine. It's not an argument for him to keep his job in perpetuity. It's an argument to build more evidence. It's an argument to let things go how they are. Hell, if you put in an interim coach, guys usually play for interim coaches. You usually win a game.
You'll win a game right away.
If you guys want to tank this thing out like you all say you want to tank this thing out, the worst thing you can do is put an interim coach in there. 1-6-4-7-4-0092. All right. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the gales of November come early? Wait, when the waves turn the minutes to hours. Damn it, I messed it up myself. I'm sorry, Gordon. Wherever you're at up there. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, takes us with you to work on the free Odyssey app. KC Roofing.
and focused. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When you want the latest on the Browns, we're the station you turn to first. 92.3 The Fan is Cleveland's home for breaking sports news. Your teams, your station.
Tomorrow we'll go around the AFC North. Also got to get... Boy, it's going to be a weird afternoon. We got to get it figured out with Darius Garland here. You nervous? I'm nervous as hell.
A little bit, because
I'm nervous.
Either way, it's good news, bad news. It's good news, right, that if it's not something so significant that he's got to be out a month and then be reevaluated. But the other part of it is, what if they just say it's something he's got to manage the rest of the year? I'm like, that would not be
That's
ideal.
Gonna be a pain.
The way that he plays the game, he needs to be light on his feet, dancing around the way he does with the basketball.
So wait a minute. Now, hold on. Manage it the rest of the year. I'm going to get to the Stefanski. Hey, the Stefanski ain't going anywhere. So I'll get to him in just a second. If it's managing the rest of the year, then I'm going to shut him down for a while.
Well, they might say that.
Is there this stupid question? We're just starting the season. Is there an IR in the NBA? Or can I just hey, he's on the injured list?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, they could always just sit him and rest him.
Okay, and that's what I'm going to do.
But what if it's one of those weird things where they're like, well, that he would have to sit so long for it to heal up again? Then I don't know. I guess
I got to do what I got to do, man.
I know.
I need him as close to 100% as possible. So
yeah, last year they said during the playoffs,
I don't like that answer.
They're like, he needs rest to get this better.
Okay, but I don't like your answer.
But then did he get surgery?
All right, he got surgery, but now I really don't like your answer. And I go back to what the guy in Seville had said before, where now he was questioning the doctors. Now, I didn't want to question doctors here, but if you're giving me the answer of what he needs to rest, the rest might be too long, then why did he come back in the first place? Why did you clear him in the first place then? If he needs to rest on this thing and it takes months for him to rest, then why was he back? Answer that. So it can't be, there has to be something where, hey, it might take a few weeks, whatever, or if he's resting for a long time or something he's got to manage, why did you guys clear him then? Now, you can give me a scientific answer, and I would have to accept it because, again, I'm not a doctor, so maybe you would have a better answer than I would if you were a doctor. I'm sure doctors can answer a lot of things. But damn it, man, I do not need him. And I look at this season, I don't need him back right now. I don't need him. I didn't need him in. I was worried when the season started about him coming back too soon. I still agree with the doctors. I don't think that he was coming back too soon. I don't think that he had to overdo it. He was not on a minutes restriction, and he ended up playing 30 minutes instead of 20 minutes or anything like that. I'm not alleging any of that right now. But if you gave me that answer, it's well, he's got to manage this, or he would have to rest for such a period of time where it would be now not good for the team. I go, well, then why was he back in the first place playing then? Because you have to have some evidence of this affecting a player in the past, don't you? So that don't wash. No, it's got to be a few, he may need surgery again, which would be terrible. He may need to rest for a few weeks. Okay. He may need to rest and you do a ramp up again. Okay. But if you're talking the long-term stuff, I'm going to be pretty angry tomorrow.
And furthermore, it's just going to add to the workload. Donovan Mitchell has had to save them already this year. How many times is Donovan going to make it to the finish line?
Uh-huh.
He's been totally gassed out after 2 rounds of the playoffs every year. If you're asking him to do even more, this is where Evan Mobley and his progression is supposed to help. It's supposed to help you. It's supposed to take some of the onus off of the other guys.
What progression?
Well, and then Mobley last night took just 15 shots.
Again, what progression?
And there's no Bam. Bam was not out there.
You're gonna make me upset. This is how this starts. And then I got to go, where are you progressing to the level that we thought you should be? Unless the wool's been over my eyes the entire time, and maybe it has been. If he doesn't get there, that means that they were never going there in the first place. He's my only hope. If Evan doesn't get to the level he needs to get to, and he may not, you guys may not think he's going to, then we're not talking about a finals ever. Not with this incarnation of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Even with this Eastern Conference.
Even with this Eastern Conference. Who am I to say that nobody else will come out of the Eastern Conference and bully us around? It's happened 3 straight years. Who am I to say it wouldn't happen again? Let's go to the phones. Gino in Northfield, hello.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
I have turf toe. And
sorry to hear that.
I got it 30 years ago. You never get rid of it.
You've had turf toe for 30 years?
Yeah, I mean, it gets better, but if you move the wrong way, it gets aggravated. It bothers you. I remember the day I got it wrestling, and it's just, it bothers you forever. It's retired football players before.
Isn't that what took out? I mean, I know that Jack Lambert was already a little long in the tooth, but isn't that what ended Jack Lambert's career, was turf toe of all things?
Yes, sir, it was.
And God, if he's not, you're just making
you just never get rid of it. And basketball players, they're pivoting, they're doing everything. It's going to bother them forever.
Well, Gino, you're supposed to pick up my spirits here. Come on.
Yeah, sorry about that, buddy.
Okay, Gino, I'm sorry. Thank you very much for the call. Damn it. Is this Rome?
Rome.
Your name is Rome?
Yeah, like Jerome Rome.
Mackenzie, why did you spell it R-O-O-M-E?
That's how he told me to spell it.
Wait, your name is Rome, right? But it's got to be R-O-M-E, right?
She might have just, it was R-O-M-E. She might have just misheard me.
It's like Mackenzie.
My fault. I apologize sincerely.
There's an R&B group called Rome.
Hey, how you guys doing this morning?
I'm doing okay. Go ahead.
So, my girl used to be a nurse until she suffered like what she described as culture shock. She was in the hospital, and the head of the hospital told her not to worry about this gentleman on this bed because he had county insurance, and pay more attention to this guy on this bed because he has private insurance. I'm bringing that up to show you just like an example of how doctors distinguish. And it's more money in the treatment, not the cure. There was a doctor, I forgot his name. He wrote a book of home remedies that was supposed to be able to
wait a minute. Rome. He plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I understand.
This isn't
that,
like he's
we're building like $1 billion clinic and rehab place right up the road.
Rome.
I mean, they want to treat it. They don't. That's just how it seems to me. That's how the doctors operate in the country. It's more money in treatment than it is cure. And like I said, I knew somebody that was in there and saw it, and it
with really an two-time All-Star NBA player.
Money is money. I mean,
I hear
Rome.
What you said,
and I know. Go ahead,
Rome. You don't believe this.
I have to.
Rome.
I've seen it. I've just seen it too many times.
Listen,
where
you're a nice guy. You're a nice guy. I'm glad Owen isn't here because Owen would give you the sweet chin music. I'm gonna let you go. I need you to think about this take and come back to it at another time, hopefully with a fresh perspective. They're the team doctors of the Cavs. That's their job, is to get them back out there on the floor. It's not in treatment. It's the job is to get them back out there on the floor as safely and soon as possible. And I don't think again, the safely part is a big part of it because it's only November. I mean, that's part of the job. Now, I don't know if is there a retainer on team doctors or anything like that. I'm not sure how that works. But good God almighty, guys. That's the end of calls.
Do you want to do Turf Toe Radio tomorrow for 4 hours?
No, I'm not doing Turf Toe Radio for 4 hours tomorrow. Hopefully that we'll come back and they did an MRI of his foot and his foot's fine and he just needs some rest. Good God almighty. Oh, they didn't tell her the song to play at the end.
No, nobody told her. Kenny, nobody told her anything. It's become abundantly clear.
I haven't seen you this angry before. You know when Lima is upset about the professionalism. Big thanks to everybody who joined us today. John Greco was outstanding. We're back tomorrow 6 to 10. We got 2-second trivia at 7:45. Around the AFC North at 8. Join us, won't you, for Big Country, who's not here. Happy Veterans Day to him.
And who should win the Heisman?
Have a great Veterans Day for... Well, where does Julian Sane rank on even the Buckeyes? Because I gave you an answer, and I was like, I don't mean to be a jerk, and you're not being a jerk. I was like, oh, okay, at least I'm not being a jerk. That's nice. For Big Country, again, hope he has a good Veterans Day. For Meredith, for Mackenzie, For the Slippery Wizard, Anthony Lima, I'm Ken Carman. Have a wonderful day, my friends. Hey.
Sounds good.
Cool, I got on the last show.
Loser town, loser fans, and you guys are a loser show.
This is Boomer Esiason with an Odyssey Sports Minute. Today's birthday shout-out goes to